Welcome, podcasters. It's Level 1 Woke. We're back with another episode. This is the first step to waking up. Check our social media platforms. We are on YouTube at Level 1 Woke. We are on Facebook at Level 1 Woke Podcast. We are also on iTunes, Level 1 Woke, Spotify, Google Play, which is free, Google Play Music. And we have a special guest here today, Robert Matthews. He is a flat earth researcher, a globe denier, and we're having him on to learn a little bit about his insight. So, how's it going, Robert? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been talking to you guys for a few minutes. I'm real happy to be involed with this.
Appreciate it. Thanks for you being
happy
here.
To have you here.
Yeah, for sure. We're excited about this one. So
right.
But yeah, let me ask you this: what got you into the flat Earth movement? It's a movement now.
Well, I guess it is a movement. I've been for a good number of years. I've been looking into alternative ways at looking at things. I call myself kind of a direct realist. The CIA coined the term conspiracy theorist, and actually all that is an alternative to the narrative that we're fed. And so for a good number of years, I've been looking into different things.
You kind of took their idea and like used it against them almost, like used it for you, like
you
termed the idea, but I'm using it for something else.
Right,
and I'm
exactly.
Looking into this stuff.
Right, I'm looking into it, and some of the things were pointless rabbit holes or whatever, but a lot of them held a lot of truth. Some of your podcasts that you've done already are some of the areas that I've looked into, and there's just alternate stories.
Yeah, for sure.
To everything, yeah,
right.
For sure.
Right.
So you got into this alternative story, I guess.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll just tell you how it happened. I was.
Was there like a big thing, like one big awakening, like this, or is just a bunch of research
gradually
over years?
Kind of get into that.
Over the years, starting probably with Oklahoma City.
Bombing?
With the bombing.
Right.
There were some things that didn't fit the narrative that was told. A lot of people probably don't realize.
That got you questioning governments or everything, just...
Yeah, well, it got me questioning what I was being told, right?
All right.
Gotcha.
Wake up.
Yeah, not to go too deep into it, right? But in Oklahoma City, and this is a long time ago, and I really didn't plan on bringing it up, so my numbers might be off on this. But as I recall, they said there was like 192 victims, right? I think. I could be off on that.
Oh, that's good.
But there was...
Shout out to Monkey Shoulder.
Right on. And I'm enjoying the Tito's myself, so product placement on this level stationary plane. But
sure.
They claim there was like 192 victims and an extra leg that didn't belong to anybody. And
is that true, Brandon? Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
I want to know the number. Just
right.
We're not questioning you. But
no, of course. And whatever it was,
Mandela effect. That's what it was. It changed over time.
They never adjusted their figure to account for this extra leg. Okay, in the immediate aftermath, and evidently it was a dark complected leg, right?
Wait, so this was a medically reported, documented leg that.
The initial story of it, okay, was that they had found a leg and then they gave the victim toll. But for whatever reason, they never included that leg in the number. Okay.
Word.
And
I've heard about that. Yeah.
And so
nobody was missing a leg.
And nobody. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you find a leg, okay, odds are, and you don't find the rest of the body, the person expired in the incident.
For sure.
Right? Okay. Well, they never adjusted the number. Okay. And in addition to Timothy McVeigh and whatever the other guy's name was, I forget now, Terry Nichols, I believe, right? Yeah. Whatever that guy's, they had said for a while that there might have been a third person, whatever, and that never materialized into anything. But what got me is that they never adjusted the death figure. right, to 193 victims or 194.
To account for that leg.
To account for the leg.
Yeah, the number it says is 168 people were killed.
Okay.
So
All right,
you're
so I'm
close.
off.
Yeah,
It's been a
close.
long time.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So
just getting
what
the
is
number out there.
what is your theory about this leg?
I'm
You
not
have
sure.
one,
No,
or
I really don't.
A general idea?
No, but what that opened me up to was
That's
that
kind of a minor detail to get you questioned. Not saying, I'm just saying it's a minor detail to get. I'm glad it woke you up, but it's something that small you notice. That's pretty good, is what I'm saying. It's a minor
I think
detail.
there's probably a few things in that whole story that
right,
not
right,
just that, but that
right.
was
Well, there's
one of the
the other thing about it, right, is they claimed it was a fertilizer bomb. Okay. Ammonium nitrate or something like that, as I remember, right?
Yeah.
A fertilizer bomb. Well, the truck that was a Ryder, if I remember, U-Haul, whatever it was, that was out in front of the building and they only showed it a few times. You may be able to find it now, I don't know, but they had an aerial view of the explosion. Okay. And there was a big problem because if you took a compass and drew it above the picture, if you were looking at it and you drew it above the picture and you took the inside of the I'm tapping in my brain, the Merrill building or whatever it was, I forgot what the name of the building was, but if you took a circle and drew it around, because if it was a fertilizer bomb and it exploded, it should have gone in a circle, right? But if you look at the buildings across the street.
Now, is that on a flat Earth model? It should have went circle, or on a round globe model? It should have went circle.
Okay, it was the Alfred P.
That's a legit question,
Right, right. It is now.
I'm
it
into
wasn't
this
then.
shit.
It wasn't then.
Because there's different effects on a globe model and a flat Earth model. So it's like gravity, everything's different. So it's
right. Gravity's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
But, okay, but anyway, what clued me in addition to the body, right, is when I saw the picture above it, the blast radius didn't go in a 360. Okay, it went more towards the building, which to me indicated a shape charge or a directed charge of some kind.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, not just simply a truck blowing up, something that was specific. You know what I mean? And I combined that with the leg that was never accounted for, and it told me that what I was being told wasn't the
true.
whole story.
Yeah, wasn't the whole story.
Yeah, it wasn't the whole
You believed
story.
it, just not all of it, or
I don't know. Okay, and that's where it was with that. Okay, and so that kind of opened the door into
the gateway.
the gateway.
Yeah, for
okay,
sure.
and shortly after that was Ruby Ridge with Randy Weaver. His wife. The wife being shot holding the baby and different stuff like that. And then Waco came along. And the way that was handled, and so I developed.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I developed it was really tragic. Okay,
It was.
And
didn't the fires, like, that's what killed everyone in
yeah,
there?
that's what killed
Did it
everyone.
start from inside?
No,
or
no.
was it
No, the
outside?
feds did that.
Yeah, the
did
feds.
that. Okay, I
And
was trying to. Yeah,
I think them people were trying to be sovereign and I
Right.
think that's why they were attacked. They
well,
were
and the
main reason.
yeah, it's probably true. And the worst part, the most tragic part to me was that after 40 whatever days or 60 whatever days of the standoff, whatever it was, I don't recall, the public opinion started to turn against law enforcement. Okay. And that's why they did what they did, because they were losing the public opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. So they basically,
No matter what the media was saying, they were still losing.
right. They
that
were,
opinion.
they
Public
were
opinion.
losing the public's will on this. And, so they had to resolve it at that point, and they took a rash measure, which, the devices that they fired into the building started to fire, and the people were trapped, and a lot of people lost their life. Where, essentially they had done what people throughout history had done, and they had
That's
a siege. They had a siege. Okay, it was an impenetrable siege. They could have waited them out.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure,
And
for
those people wouldn't have starved to death. They
No.
would have succumbed before that.
Oh yeah,
Okay. And
human self-preservation.
but public relations was more important than people's lives. Okay. And that's what was upsetting about that. So
Very true. I agree. I
You,
agree with that.
you know what I mean? I mean,
So you're
there
just seeing all these things throughout, just
just
for a
different
good time
things,
that just don't really add up to you. So you're
right?
looking into them.
And then I found out about the Federal Reserve, fractional reserve banking,
Fractional banking system.
yeah, the fractional banking system.
Looked into it myself.
The fact that the 16th Amendment, the income tax, was never ratified.
It wasn't.
Okay, wasn't ratified. The Supreme Court's opinion said that the 16th
You know why it
Amendment.
wasn't ratified? Because every state didn't agree to the income tax.
Right.
It's illegal. It's illegal. It's a scam.
It's an illegal tax.
Yeah.
There's only two kinds of
If you pay taxes, you're a slave.
Right, you are a slave, for sure. But the only two kinds of taxes that are legal in our country are a direct tax, and that's something that you pay like on gasoline or cigarettes or alcohol.
Purchasing taxes,
Right,
basically.
a direct tax
Yeah.
where everybody pays the same tax, and something called an apportion tax, and that would be something like Social Security, where everybody pays the same exact
all the
amount.
federal and state, all that's bullshit.
Yeah, all that's bullshit. And there's a lot of, so I went down that kind of whatever. And for just to tell you how far I took it, I didn't get my first driver's license until I was 36 years old. And my driver's license has been gone now since 2011. I don't participate. It causes a lot of hardship, but I choose not to participate in that arena.
Yeah.
Whatever. I still have an ID.
But you still have the natural right to travel as well.
Right.
So as long as you can travel in a vehicle, as
Right.
long as you don't recognize it as a vehicle or recognize it as you're driving, you're traveling because
Right.
you have the natural right. It's like legal wordplay to legalese.
Right.
But I've looked at court cases and looked up court documents where people use these I guess defense mechanisms and
Right.
got tickets dropped or got out of the case. Like,
Right. You have
crazy.
to be really skilled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be really, really careful. The last officer that stopped me when I was driving on an expired license in Florida said, the next time I'm making a note on you, and the next time we catch you, we're not going to issue you a ticket. We're going to consider you habitual and give you a felony.
Wow.
And so,
Dickhead.
Yeah. So
Hey,
I stopped.
Whoever cop that was, you're a dickhead.
Yeah, you are a dickhead. So, I kind of
So you got into the Federal Reserve, you got into the straw man a little bit.
right,
and then
for sure.
What'd
And,
that lead to? That's when the flat Earth came in, or
No, actually,
the globe debunking.
no, actually, it was. I don't remember what got me onto looking. We had mentioned about Lloyd Pye or whatever. I'd gone kind of down the evolution rabbit hole a little bit and saw that was completely, bullshit
For sure.
and looked into Darwin a little bit. Found out that he was a
bullshit.
racist.
He was bullshit. It wasn't his research. He had paid researchers on his payroll.
Okay, so
Did you
you've done-
Did you hear the story about him though?
No.
All right, so he had a couple paid researchers. He was just a rich kid from his parents' money. He had a couple paid researchers in different countries of the world, researching shit. One of them, I think, was in South America somewhere and got sick. He got some kind of virus or whatever. He was on his deathbed. He was dying. He contacts Darwin. He said, "Hey, come get your research. I'm dying." So Darwin comes and gets the research, puts a book together, basically.
Slaps his name on it.
Puts his name on it because it was basically his. The way it was contracted is he paid for that to be.
It.
Yeah.
Right,
He
right.
funded it. It was his. That dude wasn't getting nothing out of it, but just the research, and that was it.
Right.
He wasn't even keeping the material. It was never that way. So yeah, his
Kinda like when
money
you-
paid for his status and that he has right now in our history books. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I always
that
took him
guy.
as a kind of a racist.
But Lloyd
you know?
Pye, am I saying that right? Lloyd
Yeah,
Pye.
I think it
Everybody
is.
look that up. He has lectures on YouTube. The guy is dropping knowledge nonstop. He's waking people up. So y'all look up Lloyd Pye, look up his lectures on evolution and things like that. And just give him some time. Watch it a little bit. It's good shit.
So I was kind of I was at work one day, right, and I listened to headphones, and I was listening to YouTube, and I think earlier in the day I'd listened to some Lloyd Pye or something, and I wish I could recall. I went back in my history and tried to find the exact moment that the light was switched on, and I haven't been able to really ascertain. But I started listening to a video, and I came back out into the area where all my coworkers were, and I looked around, and I was telling you guys about this. I looked around like, who can I tell about this, right? You know, and because what I was hearing was just mind blowing, and it made sense
in every
and
way.
it
I felt the same way when I watched his lectures about it.
you know, and it just struck my core. Like when you hear truth, even if it's contrary to everything that you believe in, like there's a thing that we experience. It's called cognitive dissonance, right? When you're confronted with something that is completely against everything else that you know, right? And it's a defense mechanism to immediately reject it outright.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's contrary to your operating system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
It's almost like a form of ignorance. It's like it's kind of how people hate what they don't understand. Like,
well, that's true. That's true.
It could
you know?
be in one sense of it, I guess, but it could also be a good thing.
Right. It could be
possibly.
Well, it's we have filters in our brain that allow us to drive down the road without reading every billboard, even though we're conscious of every sign that we see. If we didn't have those filters on, our life would be so confusing, especially in this day and age. We'd be overwhelmed and incapable of doing anything. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like... Anyway, so I went out and I was like, who can I talk this to? You know, who can I say this to? And I looked around and there was nobody that was on my level at work, you know, I mean, and, and so I went back, and for the rest of the day, I just kept on listening to more, I guess you'd call them flat earth videos, right? And I just kept on listening to more and more. And I went home and I couldn't even tell my wife about it at first. Okay. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And after a couple days, I did. And I was like, I got to talk to you, you know? And when I first told her, she was like, you know, and then I started telling her about some of the things that I had heard. And she's like, oh, wow, that makes sense, you know? And she's like, you know, I never really thought, you know, I never really fully believed what I was told in school, you know, that... and I guess part of me didn't either. You know, I was thinking about people in Australia.
Schools just indoctrinate.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
it's not like a real learning process. Learning was reserved for the elites and the elites' children. We don't have real education.
No, nothing like education. And in fact, if you think about, and we're not the only country that's educated this way, right? If you think about it, when we go to school when we're young, okay. We're fed a narrative, okay, and you know, we're told this, and we're supposed to memorize it and regurgitate it, right? And
then once you memorize it enough and you regurgitate it enough, they judge you on it. They give you a grade on it.
Right, they give you a grade on it, and if you fail to conform to the narrative or ask questions or go outside the bounds of the narrative, right, you're going to fail, right? And you fail enough classes, then you know your parents, okay? So the most important person in your life peer pressures you into conforming to this narrative.
I mean, they signed you away, your rights away with that birth certificate anyway, unknowingly.
Yeah, unknowingly. But you know, it's so you're rewarded for regurgitating the narrative throughout your life.
Good job. Here's an A.
You know, here's an A.
Yeah.
You're good. Okay. And you go through your entire school, and this is a conditioning. This is a thought process that you're instilled with. And it's really to make you an obedient worker.
Yeah.
Okay. It's to make
sure.
you.
I agree. Yeah. It's to conform you. See what the school systems do, where they indoctrinate people to perform duties and perform tasks and to take orders on a certain level, but they don't want you to question and seek above your class or seek above your authority or anything like that. It's not the way it was set up. So The
Not
school
at all.
system is a whole fucking episode right there. Like we got
In
the best military, but the worst school system. Come on,
No,
not the
it's
worst, but
not
out of
important.
developed worlds, we have the out of all the developed countries. Sorry for saying worlds, but out of all the developed countries, we have the worst school education system. So,
right, and it's very true.
but the best army.
No, it's
What did Martin Luther King say? He said a country that continues to spend more money on national defense than education or social uplifting is bound for doom. And that's basically what we've been doing for years now. That's crazy. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
you didn't at all. No, you didn't at all.
It reminded me of that, so it struck a memory.
No, you're good. You should jump in because I mean, like I get on my little.
Get carried away. We're good.
Yeah.
We're here to listen. I get carried away listening. Like, really? Whoa.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's
for sure.
interesting.
But you know the I don't know. So, and on the education thing, right? And to show that the education is 100% indoctrination, there's something called the trivium that was removed from our education. Okay.
Right. Yeah, you were talking about that earlier.
Right. And if you look at classical education, now I would assume that there is the elites are still educated in this. It's my guess.
For sure.
I've heard that Jesuit schools still educate in this fashion, or I don't know how true that is. I haven't.
Can we find out if that's true?
Yeah, I haven't checked.
What is it called again?
It's the trivium. Okay.
Trivium.
Right. And I've just started looking into the trivium, but there's something called the quadrivium that's even beyond that.
Whoa.
But they
No, keep going. Yeah, that's
but,
crazy.
but the trivium is
And the quadrivium is what you said. Did
yeah,
you say
and
that?
the
All right.
quadrivium, and
Quadrivium.
I can't really speak on that at all. But the
I was just
trivium,
making sure I had the name right.
yeah. But the trivium is the it's grammar, logic, and rhetoric, and essentially what it does is it teaches you how to communicate. Right. Obviously, with grammar, the larger vocabulary, the more you can express yourself, the more fine, detailed you can get with your
Gotcha.
conversation.
With logic
right?
also.
Right. Logic tells you how to intelligently interpret what you're hearing and how to formulate your what you're trying to say in a sound,
From a
reasonable
logical
manner.
standpoint,
right.
yeah.
Right. So we can communicate. Right. And then the rhetoric.
Sounds like the highest form of, like, communication, like from a academic level almost. Like,
Right.
yeah, it sounds right. So
Right. And if you
getting
go,
it now that you're explaining it.
right. No. And if you go back to like Socrates and Plato or whatever, they also had something called sophist. Okay. And sophists were, it's a real fancy word for a liar. Okay. But they were sophisticated argumenters.
So
all
they
right?
were fibbers.
They were, but they did so in such a way. Okay. It's kind of like government propaganda. Okay.
Yeah,
they
for
did
sure.
so in such a way it felt good going down. Okay. That it was palatable to you, that they could tell you an outright lie or make false associations or do things like, I'll give you an example, right? People for thousands of years have done this. Okay. That's like an appeal to history or consensus or, this is the way the government has always done it. It's appeals to authority. They really don't have any grounding.
So is it like a verbal appeal or?
Yeah, it's
all right.
they're the technical term I believe is like logical fallacies. They sound good.
Logical fallacy sounds
Okay, but they're
like something I heard before.
like a red herring or appeals to authority or appeals to consensus. Like if me and you are talking, right? I shouldn't have to say, NASA says this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you saying that you shouldn't have to say that, what would the proper
Then you
analogy
should,
or the proper terminology be?
Well, if I have to bring NASA in as my witness,
That just means somebody might not be educated as well as you.
that's true. That's true.
I mean, that's how I'm taking it.
Right, that's true. But when you use that as your source of information, that is your proof, right?
You want to know what we like to tell people about NASA? Do you know the NASA symbol with it's got the red lines going through it.
Right.
It's shaped like a serpent's tongue.
Right.
You heard that whole serpent's theory about no? All right, so if he shows you the NASA image right now, and you'll see the NASA circle, and you'll see the red lines through it. It's shaped like a serpent's tongue. And from what we get from the Bible and, biblical, and serpents they're bad, they're evil, they're not good, As far as what the Bible, what was it? The serpent that went to and told Adam and Eve to do this. So they're projecting like an image that it's not good, basically.
Okay.
So to me, a serpent in that standpoint is not good.
Yeah, it's that right there.
Right.
So
Right. No, I
like
know
a
exactly what you're
serpent.
talking about.
Yeah.
So NASA in Hebrew
Is to
Nasha,
deceive.
To deceive. Nasha, to deceive.
Right.
And who was it that sent us to the moon, that built that first rocket, Brandon?
Werner von Braun.
That guy.
Yeah.
He was Nazi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the
Operation
deception.
Paperclip, yeah.
Maybe that's what the deception could be about. Is that's probably why.
This guy's a Nazi. Yeah, that's how you get.
But that's not the original NASA logo either. So
So-
it was changed for a reason. But
What?
what you were go back. You can go back to what you were saying on.
I don't know. I was going to go to the moon, but we'll wait.
He's like, hold on, let's get into this. I'm ready.
I was kind of reading on that trivium stuff.
Trivium,
so like
yeah.
what you were
I was getting
saying
into that.
about like if you had to make the argument like, oh well, so NASA says basically what this is saying, you should just that information, you shouldn't even need NASA. You should
Right.
just argue.
You should
You
be-
should know that.
Right. I should be the authority.
That trivium is like you shouldn't have to rely on like anyone else's info but your own.
I mean, I
to-
got that, but that's what I was saying, that they could just be less educated if they don't know the info. You can't rely on information you don't know.
Right,
So
but you can't be having-
do you take somebody's word for it at that point, or how do you handle that situation?
I cross check a lot, okay, and it's if something rings true to me, okay, I'll investigate it. If something sparks my curiosity, I'll investigate it, and I investigate what I've heard from the angle that they're talking about, and then I go and try to debunk it. Okay,
Sure.
or
That's how I think anything should be done.
You know what I
do
mean?
The same thing.
I'll gather as much as I can from the side that kind of made sense to me.
I mean, do you automatically look at things to debunk it, or do you look at it as far as research, and then you start seeing enough holes in the research that you debunk it?
No, I
Automatic.
I kind
He's
of
like,
go.
nope.
Are you?
I automatically
Have
don't
you
believe.
studied this at all? The trivium. So it's basically he said the grammar, the logic, the rhetoric. The grammar basically is the who, what, where, why, right? The form of logic answering why of a subject, and then the classic rhetoric provides of how of a subject. So basically is like discovering the order of the facts, right? That's like the first step. Compromise basic systematic knowledge, your basic knowledge of stuff, and then developing a faculty of reason in
Logic.
establishing valid, non-contradictory relationships among facts.
Oh, so it's
systematic.
non-contradictory relationship between facts.
Like your facts gotta be 100% on every little like thing,
Right.
basically, and then applying the knowledge and understanding expressively compromises wisdom, or in other words, it is systematically usable knowledge and understanding.
Right.
So
And
That's based off the point of view
That's-
of one person's knowledge, or
this is the way that people in the past were taught to learn. Okay, they were taught to formulate.
so basically, if somebody don't know something as you don't speak to them, or
No, but you
like
would
fuck
be-
y'all are
No,
That
but
sounds
you-
like some elite shit though. That sounds like the
It-
way the elite would be raised and
it
taught.
does.
That's why
It's
we're not on their level.
basically-
That's why there's a 2%. Or
what I'm getting
you know?
from it is like, don't get into a conversation basically unless you know
What side are you on? Wiki,
exactly what you're talking about.
Wiki, Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. No, this is triviumeducation.com.
Look in there and see if they have anything in regard to.
But that's a .com.
sophist.
.coms put whatever they want to make money. .orgs are where they're
Well,
real.
sure. I'm just reading you.
No, I'm not saying it's
That's
not
interesting.
bullshit, but I'm just
I-
saying, all right, now I'm like, all right.
So interesting though. They have this. I'm just kind of
Okay, go ahead.
reading while you guys were kind of talking, just
All
because
right.
the trivium thing is really interesting to me. They have like a right angle triangle here, and then on the backside is trivium. The fourth is the quad trivium, and then the biggest line is senses. So it's almost like maybe it's how do you explain it? I don't know what this quad trivium thing is, but
I haven't looked too much into that. It seemed to me a way, a format, and a way to learn.
I think all of those together, you should be like killing every conversation or you get into if you know this trivium, quadrivium stuff. That's just what this is basically.
Right, and there's people that are putting forth the narrative that we hear every day, that are educated
on
in
it.
this.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
And
More than likely.
I would say that there's a fair amount of also sophists.
That's kind of like 48 laws of power. Like it's like
I've
some
heard some of that.
manipulation to the if they're not knowledgeable as you are.
Right,
That's
I've heard
what-
about
that's
some
what
of
the
that, and
media
it sounds
does, like-
really cruel. Like I'm not a step on you to get my grapes off the tree kind of guy.
These people that are taught this trivium, that's what these people are, though.
Right, that's
and that's
probably
the
true.
people that study trivium. That's what they are.
That's probably true, but I think that in this day and
Sacred
age,
knowledge, you think?
I think that's what I'm kind of getting at this.
But
might
why
be
would
some
it be
kind
on
of-
that website if it was?
Well, just like, not
Sorry.
not saying that it's that this like. I think it's just something that they don't put in your everyday school.
right?
Who's
Yeah.
to say that this is bullshit just because they don't teach it in school every day? That's
Right.
all I'm saying.
Well,
Just from what I'm reading.
It
Yeah.
might have some weight to it. A lot of that shit sounds plausible.
Well, I think that they're.
As you explain it or hear it, you can understand it. So if you understand it, that means it must hold some weight. But I'm
Well,
skeptic
if-
about everything. So
if
that's
you
my
were
role.
if you were engaged in a conversation with someone, right, and they were taught this right here.
Example right now? You giving an example?
No, not
I
really.
think he's trying to explaining like what.
I'm just saying, if you were engaged, let's say someone was telling you
But
a
I'm
story.
saying you're giving an example of how this works is what you're doing right now.
No, I'm saying that I believe this is important, and I believe it
okay,
was
okay.
removed from our education for a reason.
But how do you use it in everyday life? If it's
I realize that there's very, very skilled liars, okay? And that they use argument techniques that, because I wasn't educated in it, I don't recognize it
Gotcha.
for what it is, okay?
Yeah.
I don't.
Trickery.
It's trickery,
Yeah.
and I don't realize that when you appeal to an authority, or you appeal to a consensus, or you send me off on a side shoot,
You're entering into contracts
that
knowingly.
no, I do not understand. I stand under nothing.
Exactly.
Okay.
I got you.
But that if you're not aware of this, okay, you can be fed a narrative.
Quick.
Like, you don't know how many times I've heard scientists say, okay, scientists have done this, okay, and scientists and I'm okay. Well, can I break something down real
Go
quick?
ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all yours.
All right. When I talk about scientists, right? Because I don't want to talk past each other here. Okay, I want you to really get what I'm saying. Okay?
I question a lot, so I might have a lot of questions. But go
Oh,
ahead.
that's okay. All right. When I'm talking about science, there's basically sciences in three different parts. Okay, and when you hear about science, especially when people are appealing to authority, attempting to mislead you, a lot of times they just say science. Okay, there's natural science, there's formal science, and there's social science. Okay, natural science is like biology, medicine, different things. They're practical. You can measure something, you can test something. It's tangible.
That's
okay?
science, yeah.
That's science.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's natural science. Okay,
That's basically physical science almost.
yeah. And I just call it natural
But
science.
yeah,
They
no, it sounds
probably-
right. I got what you mean.
Okay.
Exactly. It
All
sounds right.
And then you've got formal science. Okay, formal science is things like mathematics. Okay, it's a language. It's a descriptor. It can be used to quantify things. It's but it's also based on axioms and premises that, if false, okay, can paint a picture that's not tied to reality. Okay, math is a language.
Okay.
Okay, and any language can lie.
Okay.
Okay, and that's really critical.
But math is more than a language, though. Every other language ain't just more than a language. It's a way of communication. Math is a lot more than that, though.
Right, math is.
So,
I'll give you an example. Okay, it's a real quick example.
Okay.
Right, you guys like, or I'll challenge you with this. Right, three guys walk into a hotel room or into a hotel. right? The front desk clerk has taken a break, the bellboys at the front desk, right? The three guys walk into the hotel and ask for a room, and the guy tells them, the bellman tells them it's $30. Each guy gives the bellman $10. He puts the money in the register, takes their bags, takes them up to the room. They stiff him. They don't give him a tip. He goes back down. He's a little upset about that or whatever. Front desk guy comes back and he's like, did anybody come in? Yeah, three guys came in. I gave them a room. I had to use a roll-away bed. He goes, oh, you should only charge them $25 then, not $30. And he's like, oh, okay. And he gives them back five $1 bills. And he sends them up to go give them back their money. Okay. On the way up the elevator, the guy's like, they didn't tip me anyway. I don't know how to divide five into three. I don't know how to divide 5 into 3.
Yeah.
He sticks $2 in his pocket.
sure.
And he gives each one of the guys back a $1 bill. Okay. Now, each one of the guys have now paid $9 a piece, right? Which 3 times 9 is 27, plus the 2 that he stuck in the pocket is 29.
Okay.
Where's the missing $1?
Repeat that.
Okay. 3 guys give $10 each. Okay. The bellman
He
gives.
stuck 2 in his pocket and he gave 3 back, so that's 5.
No.
After they,
He gave each guy back $1,
all right.
which means that
All right.
each guy paid.
The room came out to $30. Right? There's 3
No,
guys.
listen the way I'm putting the equation.
I know the way you're putting it. You're putting it in a suggestive way to get it to.
No,
get it,
in reality, each guy
kinda
paid
trying
$9.
to manipulate the outcome of the.
No, okay. Well, let's
Not
just
saying it's
let's
bad
just
to
keep
manipulate. I like the wordplay. I know how you're doing it.
No.
But basic math tells you what he's saying is wrong.
Let me hear it one more time.
Okay.
I can explain it to you and then let him tell you.
Okay,
All right.
I mean,
this is how it happens. They paid 30 for a room they were supposed to pay 25 for. Clerk gives the bell dude $5, says give it back to him. He can't divide 5 by 3 ways, so he pockets 2 and gives him 3 back.
Yeah.
The way he added it up and
was that each guy paid
How much? How much did each guy pay for the room at first?
$10?
that wasn't the initial
No, that was-
question. What would happen to that $1? But now when you do the basic math in your head, the $1 never was missing. But I like how you did that. Do that again.
Okay. So each guy,
like it.
each guy initially paid. It's a flawed math problem, which people that love math like
I don't
me
think it's
hate
a flawed math
Oh, it
problem. I
is,
think
for
it's
sure.
a misconception of wordplay and
No,
a little
because
other dazzle.
every math equation can be forward and backward, except for this one. Every
Wait,
one of them.
Howard?
Okay, because each guy paid $10 initially. All right, ultimately paid $9. Okay, and that guy only stuck 2 in his pocket. Okay, so 3 times 9, 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 9 is 27 plus the 2 in his pocket. There's $1 missing.
I get it. Okay, I see what you're saying there.
Okay, so each guy, it's a flaw.
It's the 33. It's the 33 cent from each $1 that makes up the last one.
Where are you
makes
getting
up the full
33?
dollar.
There was no change. There was
Where are
5
you getting that?
$1
There's
bills.
$1 missing when he stuck 2 in his pocket and gave the other guys back 3.
How much
Wait.
did each guy end up paying for the room?
Hold on.
Listen,
Let me think.
they
Okay, all
at
right,
the end
anyway.
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, no,
day-
this is how much they paid. At the end of the day, they paid $28 for the room. So at the end of the day, they
No.
paid 9. Yes, they did.
27
No, they didn't because dude only pocketed $2.
$2.
So they paid 28, and like I said, at the end of the day, they
Yeah.
paid $9.33 each. That's the exact answer for your question. They paid $9.33 each.
No, they only paid 9. They
They
gave
didn't.
him a
They
10 and got
didn't.
back $1.
There's
He
no
didn't
way.
give him 70
there's,
cents.
There's no way that they could have paid $9 each without
What
him
he's
pocketing an
saying, though,
extra
is, like,
$1.
there was no change exchanged. So.
I know there wasn't, but there's no way that he could have paid them that much and only pocket $2. So he had to pocket $3. Then there's still
What
a
you're
misconception.
experiencing right now is called cognitive dissonance.
No, it's called reality.
All right.
I think that might be real. What you're saying, you might have some weight with that, but that's not what I'm experiencing.
Okay.
I'm experiencing logic.
you're
right now.
logically-
I'm experiencing
you're logically-
trivium right now. I'm
Right,
experiencing
right.
logic right now.
Okay,
but
anyway.
I see the way that you're trying. It's that story is probably not your story.
No, not
so
at
I
all.
can see how it's manipulating the like the answer they want or the dialogue they want you to follow. But anybody with any reason could look at it and be like,
Right.
there's still $1 missing because it doesn't happen like that. The story
Right.
is telling you one thing, but if you do the math, it's a different thing. That's
Okay.
how I got that. So,
Okay.
but
All right. But anyway,
I like it though. Any more things like that?
That's cool. That's interesting.
It's
Debunked.
No, it's not at all. But anyway,
Highly debunkable.
not at all. But that's something I learned really young, and I was able to pleasure every math teacher I had through elementary school and high school with that. So I've been using that for years. It wasn't original, but it's. I was later told it's one of the few, if not one of the only math problems that can't be worked backwards and forwards, and it doesn't work.
I mean,
out.
it's not a math problem.
Well,
really,
it's like any word problem that you
it's
would
a
learn
word
in school.
problem, but not a math problem.
Yeah,
Because,
it's a word
like I
problem.
said, you're wording it. They worded it for a certain outcome, but when you do it mathematically, it comes out the right way.
Right, even if you
But-
take 3 tens and subtract 1 from each one and then do the math.
So what
You have to-
a
you
math
can't
problem?
deal with-
It would be like 30. It would be like 30 subtract 5 plus 2, and it would
Right.
It would
If you
still
work
come
it
out
that
to
way.
29, and that dollar he would have to pocket more or whatever. But
Yeah.
if you wrote it out in a math equation, it'll come out proper. If you do it in a wordplay situation, it's going to be manipulated.
But anyway, all right. So I've completely lost my train of thought with that.
That's cool.
cool.
We can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah, that's fine.
But anyway, the oh God, I completely lost where I was at.
All right. Well, let me ask you about this. Then,
Okay, good deal.
because he's a globe denier. So, do you know when the first recorded time that? Do you know, or the first recorded evidence of the world being spherical? You know when that was?
Copernicus probably. Well, Aristophanes supposedly, but nobody knows that he really lived. Okay, the guy with the 2 sticks, Alexandria, and all that, measuring the shadows.
It was Greek.
Right.
It was Greek. Astrophysicists or whatever they are.
Aristophanes.
And they what they did is they did a few basic experiments, ground level experiments, to get the exact circumference of the world to the exact T. That was 250 years before Christ.
Okay, but the only problem with that, okay, is
The same problem with the Bible. It's all bullshit.
No, not at all. Okay,
Written by secondhand accounts.
no. Okay, now the thing you got to realize with the heliocentric model, okay, and that's for anybody that doesn't know, that's putting the sun at the center. Even though we know the sun isn't the in the story, the sun isn't the center of the entire universe, okay, but by heliocentric, I mean the sun is the center of our solar system. Okay, that's what I mean by that. In the I lost my train of thought again.
You were getting to the
Oh, okay. I know what I was going to say. Okay, initially, okay, they claimed that the sun was about 3 million miles away. Okay, and it's progressively gone up. Now it's somewhere around 93 million miles away. Okay, the same experiment, okay, could be conducted and give the same results with a sun that is much more close.
But
and
do
local.
you know on certain times of certain times in the year, the sun does actually drop? It's not always at the same distance from Earth.
Right.
It's
It's an elliptical orbit.
It's a thing. It's a thing. That's where a lot of that's where like Jesus and a lot of religions come from. Like Jesus called himself the sun, the light, like the sun. The sun
They've
has
been
12
worshiping the sun for a long time.
The sun has 12 constellations. Jesus had 12 followers.
Right.
Jesus died, resurrected after 3 days. The sun drops a certain amount of degrees for 3 days before it goes back up. That's what I've learned through research. So I know the sun's not always the same distance, but you're talking about a 30 million fucking mile. That's a big difference. I don't think it drops that far.
Initially they thought Copernicus thought that it was around 3 million miles away. Okay, and right now we're somewhere around 93 million miles. Okay, if you picture in the way that they did it is supposedly okay. Now how he traveled these two distances and knew that it was exactly the same time and all this is beyond me a little bit. But if you the way they ascertained
the way he did what?
What he did basically was measured shadows.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you. I know exactly how he did it.
And
I can explain to you how he did it.
Right, but okay, so you know the experiment that he claimed he did.
Long as they're a farther, that's like we can do this right now.
Right.
I can go and call maybe my sister. I don't know where they're living now, whatever state, maybe Alabama. That might be too close. Or if I can call somebody in Alaska, y'all go out and measure shadows
Right.
on a flat plane. Those shadows are going to be the same. On a circular curvature plane, you're going to get different shadows at.
Okay,
at
what happens? What
same
happens?
thing with the sunlight. If we were on a flat, this is what I got from looking into it and just knowing about it over years. If we're on a flat planet, the sun would be shining down on the whole thing, almost like a spotlight.
Right, but what if
all right,
the sun
even
was
if it
much
goes
closer?
around and it's rotating around in this type of manner, everybody would still see it. Even the places that were in darkness because the sun's over here would still see the sun, but they would see it to a point of the atmosphere or whatever where it would end. Like I've really looked into this.
Okay,
shit, like,
okay. I would encourage. Okay, I would encourage you. Okay, I would encourage you. There's a YouTube channel, right? Dwayne Kellum. Okay, he does high altitude balloon flights off his own back. He's not sponsored by.
a few of them.
Yeah,
I've
he's
seen
not-
some on GoPros that
Right.
let the balloons go up until they pop, like past the ionosphere and shit.
Right.
Like,
It's most of his go up above 100,000 feet. Okay, most of them are about 115.
but you know that's depending on the lens of the camera. It's probably not.
I'm not talking
probably
about-
not high enough to detect curvature.
I'm not talking about for curvature. Okay. He's got some balloon footage where you can actually see, like on a spherical Earth. Okay, with a sun 93 million miles away, with an Earth 24,901 miles in circumference, spinning at 1,000 miles.
But
an
how would
hour.
we know this? I kind of know what you're about to say, but how would we know this if these are based off of facts that if the Earth wasn't round, we couldn't prove? So we would have to know the Earth is round to
Okay,
get
we'll
to
get
where,
there.
where
Yeah,
you're saying.
we'll get to that, right? But on an Earth, right, spinning at and I'll give you an interesting.
So you don't believe we're spinning?
Not at all. We can't.
So
be spinning.
how do you explain the different star constellations at different equinox or whatever? They change like 3 times a year, the star constellations.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna
physically, y'all can go outside and check and observe the stars because that's all our ancestors did.
Right.
And they stargazed and they star watched
Right.
and they
And
observed
you know that-
patterns. They observe moon eclipses and moon phases.
Right, and it's good that you brought that up and not me. That all the eclipses that are determined today and the star patterns that are done today are done off of observations over hundreds or thousands of years. Okay.
All right. Well, as far as an eclipse go, you can go out and observate it yourself and watch it. And you can. Have you ever seen the moon when an eclipse and you see that like half circle moon? You see that? So you ever seen a circle moon where it's like a banana? You know why it's like a banana? Because that's Earth's shadow, a circle casting onto the moon. If it was a flat Earth, it'd be a straight shadow on the moon, and you'd see, like a half moon. You wouldn't see that curve in it. Not true.
No. Okay, because you're assuming.
So why is it
all right,
curved?
all right,
Why is
all
it
right,
curved?
all
Why is
right.
the shadow of the Earth curved?
Okay. All right. There's 2 parts of this. Okay. There's a lot.
I got time for both.
Okay, good. There's a lot of quote flat earthers.
I might even have to light a joint up to this one.
Oh, that sounds outstanding. The Genesis 1:29 says it's okay. By the way, you made some biblical references, but anyway.
Yeah, I know it does. It
All
says
right.
it says use every herb bearing seed on the earth as you like. God gives it to
Yeah,
you.
it's food for your head.
That's something I
Right.
posted years and years ago. I'm not a biblical person.
Yeah, me
or
either. I
religious. I'm
remember
more
that.
spiritual and like
Right.
energy than anything.
Right.
But yeah, for sure. I posted a picture on Instagram a few years ago, me rolling a blunt, and I put that as the quote. So
Nice one. Nice one.
I'm well informed of that one.
Nice one. And but there's I'm trying to keep this cohesive for your podcast, and I'm kind of all over the place here.
No, you're good. You're good. People love to hear about all kinds of other shit. So
Okay. I'll give you a couple interesting
you could have gave me a cup. I would have did that for you.
interesting
I
little
know
side notes for you here.
To get little stands with ice pans by everybody.
Hey, there you go.
In
Bougie.
the heliocentric model, right? do you know, you'd mentioned before when we were talking about the wobble and stuff like that, right? So, the heliocentric claim is that we're tilted on our axis.
Yeah, we're not
Right.
perfectly.
Well, that's what they say, that we're tilted on our axis.
Yeah.
Do you know how much we're tilted on our axis?
3 degrees, not even some very small percentage.
It's actually 23.4 degrees.
I don't know why I want to say 27 for some reason.
No,
but,
it's
all right, got
it's
you.
it's 23.4 degrees, right? And that's what
So
they.
we wobble on a tilt is what we do. We circulate on a tilt.
No, not at all.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, but
The axis tilt while we circulate.
the interesting part.
I mean,
about
not
the,
in hit. That's what they tell us anyway.
Okay, the interesting part. Okay, the interesting part about the tilt is that 23.4 is how far off in 90?
How far off of 90?
Yeah. 66.6.
Yeah,
Okay.
666.
All right.
But that's the same thing as dividing
Okay.
23 by.
Do you know how fast the Earth travels around the sun?
Brandon can look it up and tell you.
66,600 miles an hour.
See if that's right, Brandon.
Okay. And just for coincidence,
Don't trust Wiki.
right? Just for coincidence, it'll say about 67,000 because they don't like putting.
So you can't say 666. All right, so you can't say 666.
It'll say I can
if anything,
reference
you round up and you would say 70 before you'd say
Okay.
66.
Well, I
It says is about.
Right.
About,
And
so
that's
it's probably
how-
more closer to 70 or 68
It's 66,600 miles an hour is what the claim is. But anyway,
from
they've
the
changed
flat
that
Earth,
now.
from the flat Earth community.
No,
or
no. I
'cause
studied. I told you
they're not
my
s-
method of research.
No,
right?
I know, but
Like there's
so some of your method of research is based on facts that they changed, I guess.
no. I look at
that's-
the story. Okay, I look at
Got you.
the story that I'm being told.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and if something seems
No, I get that.
know,
but
if-
how do you come? How did you manipulate the numbers from being what they are to 666? I like
Because
shit. I
I
like when
told
shit
you
adds
it
up to
was gonna say-
666 too.
No,
I'm like,
no,
yo, that's interesting
no,
because
no,
it's a
I
crazy
told you-
number. But
It
I-
says about. So
right, and I knew it was going to say
about.
Right.
But that leaves a
If
lot
you-
of wiggle room for
if you-
above or under. You never know.
like you always tell your
so
listeners.
what if somebody else had a
research
whole,
it?
Yeah, what if somebody else had a whole nother theory that why the reason the number came above it instead of under it?
Okay, well, supposedly
But
according to Einstein,
I agree on this.
Okay, all right.
It's way too close to that number to be,
Okay, I'll give
like
you
a
another one.
coincidence, I guess.
I'll give
know?
I'll give you another one. Okay, there's actually a curve calculator, right, for what we should.
I gotta research that fucking ancient numerology shit because I'm pretty sure there's some information in there on 666 and maybe these people that started that made like 666 synonymous with Satan or evil or bad. The people that did that probably already knew the circumference or the rotation of the sun or whatever was 666. So or whatever it was. So they probably did that on purpose. It's,
yeah.
Okay,
it's like trickery play,
You're aware back in like Copernicus's time.
The one
or
that
back
you,
in,
the Copernicus that you don't believe, right? You
Right.
talk about the same one. You can't start quoting him on factual stuff.
No,
if you
no,
don't
I'm
believe
not.
Some of the other
no,
stuff,
I want to point to something. Okay.
Okay.
Copernicus.
Reference.
Okay, references. Right. People back in his time, right? The only people that were truly educated, okay, were the
Wealthy.
religious and the wealthy.
Wealthy and religious.
Okay.
Because wealthy and religious went hand in hand, and a lot of kings were also priests back,
Right.
like in religious times.
Right.
For
Okay.
sure.
So, if you look into Copernicus, he was actually a Jesuit priest. Okay, and if you, it's
Like,
completely verifiable. And another interesting.
the
side
only
note-
way only reason I'm looking it up now is because you got me listening. That's
Okay.
Why. So
Well, that's good.
that's
That's
why I'm
good.
looking it up. I'm like, all right.
And coincidentally, okay, there's a curve calculator for a globe that's 24,901 miles at its widest. Okay, it's 8 inches per mile squared.
It's not. It's 15 like percent latitude or something. I forgot. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. But if you were like say 100 miles away for something,
Okay.
and you wanted to check how much curvature you would expect to see over this distance,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you take the mileage and square it, multiply it times 8, and divide it by 12.
Why 8?
because it's 8 inches per mile.
But that's just based on that model. What if it was based on a different model?
Okay, I'm talking about the one that I've been force-fed since childhood.
The global model.
The
I got you. All right,
heliocentric, the narrative I've been fed. Okay,
got you.
That's all. There may be something else. Okay, but
so you got something else for your model, like a different one, or
the most honest response is I don't have any kind of a model. Okay, I can tell.
I respect that honesty.
What I can know. Okay,
like I can say that's bullshit, but I can't say I know something if it's not true. Basically,
right. And there's a lot about you were talking about stars and moon and stuff. I'm not afraid to say I don't know. Okay, I don't believe anybody knows. I believe there is a lot of things that we've been told, and people act like they know.
But at
things.
some point, you gotta take the information, whatever information's provided, and and kind of have to come up with some logical explanation or whatever in your own head, whatever your own idea is. So,
and I have. I mean, this isn't.
That's what we're talking
I'm trying
about
to.
now.
Yeah, I'm trying to open you up to this, okay? Because you're open to other things, like I was, okay. And once this, it's only going to take a few things, okay? Because you're obviously, both of you are inquisitive people. Okay.
Well, thank you.
And
thank you very much.
No, but once you're awoke to some things.
Can you not do the 666 on my show though? Thank you.
Yeah, it's not a.
Since you're throwing up circumferences, it's like it's a repeating number with this guy. Now he's like,
okay.
I hate when they shoot the 3 and like.
Okay. Yeah.
Six.
Yeah. One last thing on that.
I don't believe in Satan. I believe in pure energy.
There you go.
So.
All right. So the one last thing on that, right? The curve calculator. Okay. The expected curve that you would see at 10 miles ends up being 66.6 feet. Okay.
What do you mean?
The way that they've even got the circumference of the Earth, it works out to 666. Okay. Like anyway.
The circumference, no.
Okay,
no.
So
I'm trying to understand.
If you took 10 miles,
so from what I'm getting,
times 10 miles.
From what I'm getting, it's calculated by time though, and there's 24 different time zones on Earth. We came up with this because the sun can only light one side of the Earth at a time, and that's a proven fact, right? So while the other side is left dark,
I've got high altitude balloon footage that completely debunk a Terminator line. So
I mean, it's not a Terminator line, really.
That's what it is. All
right, so listen to this. It is though. You can only see. We can't when the moon's out. We can't see the sun. And if Earth and if light bends space like that, we should be able to see a little bit more, I guess, of the sun or whatever. But when it's dark, it's dark, and when it's light, it's light. So what I'm saying, the reason why that it's light when it's light is because this is how they created the time zone based on the rotation of the sun. You understand that? So that's how they created the time zone. So each time zone is 15 degrees of latitude. The biggest degree being around the equator, and the smallest, the narrowest, being around the poles. And you can only come up with that on a circular planet. So, and the Earth was not round, and if it didn't rotate on the axis, the sun would be like more like a spotlight. It would illuminate
a local area.
It would illuminate everything depending on how big it was.
What's like the understanding of like if it's dark here now in say the United States, but it's light over in Japan right now, like they're waking up or something. It's the morning time. How do they explain that? Like if it's all a flat plane,
right?
But it's not. When they say flat, it's flat, but it's still. It's round.
No. You see, that's part of when I was talking about
the mainstream idea of it, or
let me what ask I you think this. Is the controlled opposition, the government.
What do you think?
Counter
if you
to
could
the
map,
awakening.
If you could map the Earth, what do you think it looked like?
What I can tell so far, okay, is that and I'll tell you really
into the shit right now.
Yeah,
guys.
I'll tell you what really solved it for me, okay? Because obviously
no, I want you to answer this question first.
Okay.
All right. So the Earth's flat for you, right?
Yeah, it's a level stationary plane.
It's a level stationary plane.
Right, for sure. 100% undebunkable.
I like this.
No, it is. I mean, 100%. And you'll see it one day and you'll be like, holy shit, this was the guy. And I've got a warning for you, okay? Your life is never going to be the same after this.
So
All right.
Could you tell me why, if the Earth? All right. First of all, answer me one question before I can ask my next question.
All right.
What would your map look like of the Earth if it's not that circular thing that the flat earthers represent with the moon and the sun rotating around like that or going around and around?
Right.
What would it look like to you? Is it any kind of circle at all or no?
Even
if it's a flat circle, is it circle or no?
I don't. I really don't.
You don't have an opinion on it?
No, I do have an opinion.
Because I want to get to my next question before I get it. I smoke a lot of pot and I'm gonna forget. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get to the next question.
Okay, I think the circle, okay, is total and complete bullshit.
Okay.
The people that are purporting.
So do you think we live in a simulation or what?
No, definitely not a simulation.
What are we then?
The
most strangest thing that ever existed?
No.
Like
All
we
right,
have to be if this is what's going on right now.
Can we go back? I want to go back to.
But, so you don't have
Sorry.
no, you're good. You don't have a reference on what you think the Earth would
No,
be,
I do.
would
I'm
look
trying
like.
to explain it, but like I want.
I mean, in simpler, quick. What do you? It's not round. You don't think it would be round?
I really don't know.
Not like circle, but just round. You don't know. So
Let me
you don't
add-
know. All right. So you don't know. If
Okay, the round. Okay, here's my problem. Okay, since early in our childhood, okay, we were fed a couple narratives that you're not aware of. Okay, but from my conversations with people, I know that it was an indoctrination because even people in other countries, bar none, everyone has these same things. Okay, when you're making it round, okay, what you're doing, knowingly or unknowingly, is you're putting an edge on it. Okay, and that's something that we were heavily indoctrinated with.
So you don't. So you believe the Earth has no edge, like it's boundless?
I
or-
don't. I have no idea, but
But
I
you know, there's
that the
people
edge,
that flown around it, like
okay,
Amelia Earnhardt. Like there's.
okay.
That wasn't a good example.
No.
It wasn't.
No, it is.
But-
it is a good example.
No.
Okay, because you're talking about circumnavigating the.
So
globe.
you don't believe in GPS systems either, then?
Where
No,
do
to
we
simplify it,
They
no.
are ground-based positioning systems. Loran predated and
So how do you?
accomplishes
So how do you?
everything.
How do you explain the Google imaging? Maps
I understand
from
what you're going
satellites
through
and
right
stuff?
now, but you should let me. Like go through this a little bit.
I want direct
I understand.
answers.
I understand.
You're
I
right.
did the same thing.
I want direct answers, buddy. Oh,
I know.
have some over here.
I did the same thing. Okay, I did the same thing. All right, because it's a lot to take in. All right, the whole notion of there being an edge, right? Everybody was taught in school. All right, stupid people long ago, okay, thought the Earth was flat and that if they sailed this way, okay, that they would actually fall off the edge. All right, this is taught in France. This is taught in Australia. This is taught very specifically at a certain age, okay, between the ages of 5 and 8. Okay, one of the first things that you see when you go into kindergarten is a globe.
You're right, and I don't want to know why it's indoctrinated into us, because it's this probably the same reason why everything else is, if that's the
Right,
point.
right.
But I want to know is if it has no edges, what do you think it looks like?
I think it's.
You have to come up
There's
with
a
some
great
conclusion.
possibility.
It's not endless. It doesn't just go on forever. That would have been proven. Like,
You would have believed that. You believe that without a question. Okay, about your universe. Okay,
do I
you
believe
believe. Where's
everything
the
they're
edge of
telling
the
me?
universe? Where's
Where's
the
the-
edge of?
Do you
This
believe,
is this is.
Do you believe in the ice wall? Is that something you believe in?
We're gonna get into
I
that.
believe.
We're gonna get into that.
I believe there's part of it. Okay?
He don't believe there's an edge.
Okay.
That's what we're
Okay.
talking about now. He he thinks the Earth has no edge. It's not
I've
round.
seen some of the flat Earth maps, right?
Right.
There's different
And they've got
ones.
the
There's a
ice wall.
few. Some of them do, some of them don't.
But he
some
don't
of
believe
them
in
have
those. He
that.
don't
Like
believe in those.
we're in this little small part in the center or wherever,
Right.
And that there's other bigger things.
Right,
out
right.
there,
There could
but
be
who
other
knows?
rings. There's ancient Buddhist maps and stuff showing other continents.
Right, yeah, I've seen those.
Admiral Byrd.
I know about Admiral
Okay,
Byrd.
he claimed that there was more land
Inner core
aside,
people.
You
Yeah.
know, there was.
people inside the world and over Antarctica.
I don't know about inside the world. That sounds like David Icke.
No,
but-
that's Admiral Byrd. That's Admiral Byrd.
All right. I thought you were going
look
lizard
up Admiral
people on me.
Byrd. Look up Admiral Byrd, and you can read the story.
Right.
He was flying over Antarctica.
Right.
And he claimed that
He found an area.
He lost control over his plane and over the functions, over the navigation, over everything. And he said that he was being
That's Operation High Jump,
that
by
he
the
was
way.
being manipulated into a certain place by without his control. So he was basically like, you ever seen the little cartoons or TV shows of an alien just like lifting somebody up?
Right.
Basically, that was what he would claim was going on. He was being
Tractor
directed.
beam.
He was being directed into a certain place without his control.
Yeah.
Once he got there, it was in the middle of Antarctica, a big Greenland. And once he got there, a civilization of very advanced people, could have been Atlantis, could have been Eden, whatever, took him 100 stories underground and told him about like everything that's been going on, the floods, how they survived, all this, all that, and basically sent him on his way. Once he got back to his plane, like he noticed that he was only gone for like 60 seconds, and it was like documented in like fucking flight pilot manifest or whatever. Like, so that's the mainstream theory that I read about him.
Right.
So.
Right. As far as the ice wall, right? There's obviously some ice around Antarctica, but I've got a whole a lot of the bigger channels on YouTube, or the people that have kind of the celebrities of flat Earth. They're holding conventions now.
B.O.B., Kyrie Irving, you heard
No,
them? They
yeah, well,
referenced it a few times.
B.O.B. kind of danced around on it. I'm talking more like Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer,
All right, so
Matt Powerland.
Just a
those
quick
guys.
answer from you real quick.
Okay.
You don't believe in the ice wall? Yes or no? Yes or
No.
no answer, no.
No.
And you don't believe in Earth having an edge?
No, I don't see what that would look like. I don't. I
You
I
know
can't
what firmament means in ancient language and shit like that. It
What
doesn't
is-
mean
The
dome.
firmament?
Firmament, sorry. You know
Right.
it doesn't
I don't
mean
buy
dome.
the dome thing.
It doesn't
Okay.
mean dome or nothing like
Yeah,
that.
That was
don't
my
buy-
next question.
It doesn't
I
mean
don't buy
dome or
that.
nothing like that. So
Right.
I've looked into it. I've read it extensively.
Right. If you look at the first 5 minutes of Back to the Future, right, which came out in 1985. Okay.
I like that movie, so I'm gonna humor him.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
So Steven Spielberg, right? First 5 minutes of the movie.
That's the dude.
Okay. If you recall this scene, if you've ever seen the movie,
He's dropping hints on us, ain't he?
he's panning around in the room, right? All the clocks are ticking in the very beginning of the movie, right? Tick, 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 tick. And he goes around and he pans back around. And then they've got the dog food dispenser, right? Dog's name happened to be Einstein, okay? The dog food plunking
It
down.
didn't happen to be. They did that on purpose.
Right.
But yeah.
The dog food plunking down into the Einstein bowl looked like a pile of shit. Okay.
Because
And
that's what he was.
he was probably full of it.
I still
okay?
kind of fuck with him a little bit.
All
I
right,
get
is-
you.
all right.
I might have to remove that picture on the wall.
No, but anyway.
Replace it with Tesla.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I like Einstein's hair, but anyway,
I
no.
mean, y'all
um,
look like y'all look like y'all casting shadows right
I
now.
know that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But
Oh,
when
man.
the camera pans around, okay, and it's right above the Einstein bowl, something that most people wouldn't even pick up on, is up on the wall. There's an AE map, which is the map that you're talking about with the it's a azimuthal
Circle map?
Yeah, the azimuthal equidistant map.
Do you
okay?
know that's still used?
And like
by
the
a lot?
Right, it's the
military
UN
and stuff.
symbol.
It's
Yeah,
used
yeah.
by a lot of nations on their flags.
Right.
Right. It's the UN symbol.
So
It's-
that's where flat earthers like get some of their like, oh, but that's just a flag.
It's a
Just
confirmation.
Just like that's just a movie.
right.
But I will
Okay.
give you this. On
Wait,
your defense.
hold on one second.
All right,
Hold
go
on
ahead.
one second.
Yeah, let me-
I went
Make your
back-
point. Make your point.
I went back
Because you
and-
editorialize a lot before you get to the point.
I'm sorry, but I just want
Not a lot.
to. I went back and looked for that clock.
I forget questions why he's editorializing. That's why I'm like, yo, I'm
Okay.
forgetting what I was
I'm
about
sorry.
to ask. I had good questions.
You're interrupted now.
I mean,
All right.
he's editorializing like
It's
for
okay.
30 minutes before he makes a 30-second fact.
He's painting a picture for us, man.
Okay.
I mean, a picture he wants you to believe. Not
no,
saying
I'm
nothing
just,
about you.
I'm just
but
saying. I'm just saying that there's good reason.
You're by far our best guest so far.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's been great, man. Yeah.
Nothing bad about Ugly Squad or Fernando de Brazi with the book, but it's,
All right,
it's way more interesting than our previous guest. So
I-
I'm
I-
having fun with it.
Okay, I was real new to the level stationary plane thing, right? And I ran across this video that showed the AE map on a wall clock, okay, in the first 5 minutes of Back to the Future. Immediately after, it pauses for an extra long time on this clock, okay? And
What do you mean by pauses for an extra long time?
You got to go back and watch the beginning.
Like the
You'll
clips
see
we're going
exact-
through quick, and then this one just stands there for a
it
second.
hung out there when you
All right,
when
I
you
got
when you
it
see
sticks out. It sticks out.
It sticks
for
out.
people that are woke though.
For
For
people that are what?
know the symbolism and shit like that and know what's going on, like
You would have
could-
never caught it when
like,
you saw it.
Like you see triangles in the back of every movie, and you're like, oh, you start, and you see suns with the eye and all kinds of shit, and you start
Right.
notice. So you noticed it kind of like that, like
Right.
the
And
symbolism of
right
it.
after that, Michael J. Fox comes into the door, right? He lifts up the mat and he hides the key. Okay. So if you were to play that backwards, the hidden key is Einstein, and you know what I mean? I mean,
But who would figure out to play it backwards to come up with an idea?
years later, these people, okay, if you look into 9/11, you can go find 9/11 stuff in The Simpsons.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
These people that do things.
But you know why? Because they tried to bomb the towers in '94.
Not with airplanes. It was 90, I believe it was 93, and they used
All
a
right,
truck
Simpsons are fucking liars.
Right.
And what they do is they manipulate certain situations, and they won't put it out as an episode, but they'll put it out on social media as something that happened 30
okay.
years ago.
Okay.
Because they did the
All
same shit with Trump.
All right,
with his
full-
whole Trump being
Yeah,
elected
with
and
the
the sign
ball.
dropping.
Oh, okay.
That's not, it wasn't never on an episode. It was something that,
The one that he's talking about though with the 9/11 thing was an episode.
look it up. Let's find
I,
it.
it
I don't
was.
know for sure, and I'm not gonna
They're in
I'm
New
not gonna
York,
stake
and Lisa-
any kind of
Lisa-
credibility on Simpsons. But
Well,
Neither am I, because I know
I've
how
heard of
I've
it,
seen
though.
them do it before. Yeah,
I'm just
you've
saying
heard
I
of
know-
it, but you haven't heard of it before 9/11.
No.
That's for sure.
I mean, I watched Simpsons, but I
All right,
do
so
remember this episode.
on your defense,
Okay.
listen, on your defense, the movie Matrix came out when 99, 98, 97, whatever. They flashed Neo's license in a part of that movie, and his expiration date on the license is 9/11.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's a lot of other references. I think in the MK Ultra Mind Control movie, what was it? Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. There's another 9/11 reference in the beginning of that movie. Just the credits coming in, and you see a car and the reflection on the window off the car. There's buildings in the back, and there's writing, and it's like there's references to a lot of shit.
Right.
And it's like, but who really puts those references together?
Right. Okay. So the point of all that is I went back and I looked, and I spent probably a few weeks anyway trying to find a wall clock that was manufactured with the AE map on it. Okay. Every wall clock that I looked at from 85 and earlier, and tried to find something with the picture of the globe on it, they all showed what we see as this right over here. Okay. And when you saw a picture, there was no that I could find commercially produced AE wall map clocks at that time. Okay, so that tells me that was placed there. All right, and with the whole ice wall,
Wait, what was placed there?
the clock with the AE
A map. Okay,
on
that
it.
the AE map, the dome ice wall nonsense. Okay, was meant to go out there. Okay, on the that model that you were talking about with the dome and the ice wall. Okay, the sunrises don't work right on it. Okay, so it's a straw man. It was
but the
set
thing
up
is,
to be
you
able
can-
to
you can
be able to be
debunk all
debunked.
these flat
Right.
Earth models, but when it comes down to what's your model, you don't have one. You
Right.
don't know how it works. You
Right,
can
you
say
don't.
you can say, oh, it don't work, but you don't know how it works.
Okay, and
But at the end of
I
the
would
day-
I would say
listen,
I'm
it's-
about to debunk the globe, so I think we're in an equal status.
I mean, there's a lot of things proven with the round Earth. There's a lot of experiments. All right, check
Okay.
this out. Go outside in an open plain, lay down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch the sunset. Soon as the sun sets, stand up. You can still see a little bit of that sunset. That
Mm-hmm.
you'll get a second sight of it. That only happens on a curved Earth. It will not happen on a flat Earth. It just won't. So, I mean, I'm guessing your argument is you're not saying the Earth is flat, but you're not saying it's not round. You're kind of in the middle?
No, it's definitely a level stationary plane.
So how do you explain that?
Okay, I'll give you the and I'm going to use their number because I truly don't
That's
know
just
how
like a
much it
boat
is.
coming over the horizon.
Okay,
it's
that's
not coming
easily-
into sight. It's coming over.
No,
the
that's
horizon.
that's actually
It's
very
not. You want to
easily-
know why? Because somebody, and this is a very smart idea, what you got to do is go to the tallest building in your city and take a telescope with you. Stand on the roof and look straight. If we're on a straight plane, on a flat Earth, you would see the Empire State Building down there. Behind that, you would see Mount Everest, and you would see everything else that's on a
Okay,
straight plane.
okay.
If
Not
the
to-
Earth is curved, you won't see none of that, and you don't
Okay,
see none of that.
Not to counter such a wonderful host here on his
No.
own
I
podcast.
want you to. I'm not. I never said I'm set. So
Here's a fact check thing. Okay, Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is 326 feet tall. Okay, it can be viewed on a clear day from
From
60,
here, from here, we would be able to see it
It can be viewed on a clear day
in a telescope.
from 60 miles away.
You know how a telescope works, right?
Hold on.
It brings everything that's further away into sight. That's all it does.
Right. You can also bring, sometimes, not always, okay, you can bring a ship that appears to have gone over a horizon
Back into view.
back into view.
But not
And
the
then-
whole ship. You would only see half of it because
you
half
can
of it's
actually
under
bring
that
it-
curvature.
No, you can
It's
actually
not
bring
proven.
it whole and all.
It's not
okay.
proven.
What we're neglecting when we look at these visuals, okay, is the part that the human eye plays in what we're seeing. All right. If you go in you can go on any street, and I'll just give you a real simple example. Okay, you can go on any street where you see a line of street lights going down. Okay, and in the distance,
That's a more narrow, dense view, though. That's
but
not
I'm
like,
saying,
Well, hold on, let him-
that's not like,
hold on,
I know what he's
I'm
getting
trying
to, and that's
no,
not
no,
like
no,
sitting on. All right,
no,
go ahead.
I'm trying to give you an idea of how our eyes actually.
But that's
work.
not the same situation, you know. You got to give it the same situation as the ship being in the open plane. Going
Okay,
over the
what's
curvature.
happening? What's happening is
Gotcha.
the floor is rising. Okay, the
Why,
ceiling
though?
is dropping because we have spheres in our eyes. Okay, we have
So we got
lens.
fish lens eyes.
We actually what they've done cleverly. Okay, is take our eyes. We would have to have flat eyes. Okay, to see what we see on a sphere. Okay,
How
what
is
they've
that?
done is taken a level.
How do you prove that, though?
If you look down,
What do you mean by flat eyes? Like they would
we
cut
see
off here and
spherical.
only look down?
We see in a sphere. Okay, we
see in like
imagine-
180 degrees. We don't see in
imagine-
360 degrees is a sphere, and we don't see
Okay,
in 360
okay.
degrees. So that's definitely
imagine
not true.
imagine a hula hoop being around your head.
Okay, you don't see the whole
at
thing.
eye level. Okay, and imagine a sphere around you. Okay, with the ground rising up to your eye level. Okay, and the top dropping down. Okay, but you're in a bubble. Okay, and that's your visual horizon. Okay, and to bring that back to what you were talking about, you understand a ball in these pictures or whatever. A ball curves equally in all directions. Okay, the horizon phenomenon that you're talking about with ships going over the horizon happens at 3 to 5, depending on your eyesight, because it's subjected to the viewer. Okay, between 3 and 5 miles out. All right, there's a huge problem with this, and a lot of people that.
But you get a different answer when you're looking under a telescope, like I was saying, or binoculars. It's not the same.
Here's what you're not thinking about, though.
That's like a trickery
No,
of
it's
the
not at all.
eyesight or of the mind.
No,
it's not the same when you're observing through a telescope, though.
When you're looking, okay, I'm not trying to convince you in anything. Okay,
I want to be convinced that your answers are truthful.
No, I want to try to help you see something. Okay, and I'm not trying to manipulate you.
No.
Okay, all right. I'm really not.
You might not be knowing that you are.
No, I'm really not. All right, a ball curves equally in all directions.
Okay.
Okay, it's the nature
True.
of a sphere. Okay, and the heliocentric model, according to them.
Objection: the Earth is not a perfect sphere. It's not.
I know it's an oblate spheroid. Only
It's
all
like
their
Asian
pictures
pear-shaped or something.
Right. That's Neil deGrasse's latest propaganda. Only problem with that is every picture they've ever shown us is a perfect sphere. So let's get off.
I mean,
that.
we know
That's the parashot.
we know NASA manipulates their pictures. They told us that 20 years ago,
Right.
Because it's so hard to get a full pitch. You got to be so far away from Earth to get a full how big it is to get a full picture of it. So a lot of
according to Senator Bill Nelson, okay, testifying before Congress, the last actual picture of the Earth was from Apollo 17 from the moon's surface.
When did he testify that? 5 years after Apollo 17?
No, look at my.
What is
It's
it?
42 years ago. You can check out my web.
Apollo 17 was?
Yeah. Well, no. When he was testifying before Congress, it was 42 years.
Oh, yeah, that's just a few years after.
What was his name? Sorry.
I'm pretty sure the
Bill
information
Nelson.
is different now, though.
No. But anyway.
So you don't believe in gravity? I mean, gravity only
gravity?
comes into the gravity as we know it. It only comes into the equation if the Earth was spherical on a rotation and spinning.
There's Newtonian gravity and there's Einsteinian gravity.
I said the gravity that we know of that holds everything down.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
the way gravity acts, it pulls everything to the center of its mass. That's the gravity I'm talking about.
Okay,
that
and that
governs everything, our solar system.
Okay, that was the that's kind of the Newtonian. It's not so much Einsteinian.
So yes or no, you believe in gravity?
No, not.
You don't
I believe
Right.
that. Okay, I believe in gravity insofar as that they have measured 9 meters per second. Okay, they have accurately measured.
So you believe you'll be the
rate at
same weight
which-
on the moon then? If not, you believe in gravity. If you believe
Okay.
you can go to the moon and say the moon existed, theoretically speaking, if you can go to the moon, and if you think you would be the same weight on the moon, then you really don't believe in gravity.
Okay, there's what they have done is accurately the only thing that they've done as far as gravity, what they have proven. Okay,
I want to
Not
finish with the
theories.
gravity before we get off.
Okay,
whatever else
okay,
they've
that's
proven.
good.
I
That's
want a
good.
little straight answer here.
Okay, I'm
you
giving
think
it
you'd
to
be
you.
the same weight on the moon then? Is what I'm asking you.
I don't think we can go to the moon.
But if we were there right now, you think you'd be the same weight on
There's
Earth?
a more practical example.
Yes or no?
Well, listen, he's trying.
Okay, there's a more practical.
I want to answer. I'm
there's
trying
no-
to get an answer
there's
here.
no
That's
yes
it.
or
Okay.
no to
There
some of this
is. There's
stuff.
got to be. If you can't put something forward and be like, this is what I believe, but I don't have a definite yes or no answer.
No.
to it.
I'm
I mean,
trying to
that's
explain it to you.
fine,
It's more down to earth. Okay,
So you don't
because I'm
believe in
not gonna-
gravity? You did.
I'm trying to explain this. If gravity were, as they say, if it was a pulling force, okay, the centripetal force at the equator is different than the North Pole.
No, that would happen on a flat plane.
No,
Yes, it would.
there's no.
It's not true. On a round planet, gravity it pulls
I
to the
understand,
center of
but
its
you're not-
mass.
you're not-
On a flat plane.
No, I'm not explaining myself well.
If the-
The rate at which you turn, okay, not the centripetal force, okay, the rate at the equator, it's supposed to be turning about 1,000 miles an hour. Okay, at the North Pole, if you were standing directly on the North Pole, okay, you would turn once in 24 hours.
That can only happen on a round planet.
No,
And you
but
know
what
what
I'm
else can
saying
happen?
is-
If you're standing on the North Pole and you walk,
I get what you're. I get what
so
you're
do
saying.
I.
The
But
gravity
it
at-
can only happen on a round planet. What you're saying?
Okay, but the gravity, okay, your weight would actually, if gravity were a real thing on the model that they give us, your weight would be different
How?
at the equator.
How?
Because of the centripetal force throwing you the force that is working against gravity,
There's no force working against gravity.
the spin.
The spin creates the gravity that's holding you down.
Okay,
If there was no
you
spin,
just went.
if there's no spin,
You
there's
just
no
told me the
gravity, and
mass-
everything comes apart. The mass is where the gravity gravitates to, where it pulls to, is the
Okay.
mass, and that's
That's
because
why I
the
was
mass
trying-
only came together because everything's spinning. If we wasn't spinning, we would have never formed.
Okay, all right.
So based on their idea of what happened, that's how we got here.
Right.
So on a flat plane, it's already proven, I guess, anybody that wants to believe it or don't want to believe it, but scientists prove that gravity pulls towards its mass.
Right.
On a flat Earth plane, the mainstream idea of flat Earth plane is that, like, little cone shaped thing, whatever it is, the little circular cone shaped thing. Like he was explaining
Not
earlier
at
with
all.
the sun and the
See,
moon going around one way.
no.
All right, so the gravity would pull to the center.
No.
To the center, yes, because that's where the mass is. So
What
on a
if-
flat Earth plane, the further you get to the outside or the ice walls, the harder the gravity would be. So it would be like climbing up a fucking
I know.
mountain.
I've seen that video, and it's
What
completely.
video?
There's a video on YouTube that's showing exactly what you're laying out with the gravity being in the center. Okay, these are strong.
You know, there's
men.
also physicists that are sitting there explaining this
okay.
stuff.
Joe,
too,
I
though,
think
right?
what you're going on about this gravity shit way too much.
I don't
Because
think I am, because
Wait,
I think
I
I can
don't-
go on with
I
whatever
just-
I want, but
I
I want to
think-
get an actual answer out of
I
this
know,
whole
I'm
thing, and I
trying.
haven't got one yet.
Well, listen,
I'm
I
trying.
think you're trying to get an answer out of gravity that he
trying.
may not
He
fully
so
believe
say
in the
it. So say
Okay,
it. That's what I'm
something-
asking. I want
so,
like a
right.
yes or no every once in a while. I don't want to editorialize for 30 minutes about something and forget about what we were talking about.
Well,
Okay,
Explain.
okay. I apologize.
No, you're
All
good.
right,
You don't have to
all right.
apologize. I
No,
think it's
because
good.
I'm
I think
I'm
it's
trying
all
to.
good for
no,
viewing,
I'm
but
trying to. I'm trying.
I like
to,
answers.
No, I'm trying to get to that. Okay, I believe. Okay, I believe that they have determined the rate at which something falls. Okay, that is no indication that there is a fucking force pulling it. Okay, and I do not believe, okay, that there is a pinpoint, like a singularity with everything being pulled towards it.
Okay.
Okay, I don't buy that.
So everything
okay?
could be bullshit, right? Everything could be. Let's say they're lying about everything, which
No,
they
no,
do lie about a
how
lot of shit.
How about it's as simple as up is up and down is down?
I get where you're going.
But there's nothing to map that out. There's nothing to prove it. At least they got theories and a
Everything
whole
in
bunch
your
of other
direct
shit.
reality proves it.
So-
Everything.
So why is
When you
why-
let go of a helium
why
balloon,
in America there's only 7%? Like, you think that many people are that stupid? Like, even these elites,
it's not stupid.
none of these elites that you know study this trivium or whatever, none of them believe in flat Earth.
Okay, let me.
Well, I mean, how do you know?
Okay, really.
They're
You
not
know, we
teaching
haven't
it in
gotten
their
to
schools.
we haven't gotten to the whys or the whatever. If you check out the heliocentric model,
right.
okay. If you check out, I'll tell you this real quick. If the
Why
heliocentric,
why are all other visible planets round then? And we're the only flat one, or where you're not calling it flat because you
Okay.
don't know what it is. So
no.
why are
I
we
am
the
calling
only
it
whatever.
No. And I don't want this to get like this is when I was telling you this is the typical. This is what I encounter. Okay. Okay.
It's
no, and it's normal. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm and
it sells.
no, it's
We're on a show, so
no, but it's really it's really hard to wrap your head around. Okay, it's really
I
really.
mean, it is when you have no real direct answers.
No,
Because
I
at the end
really-
of the day, your answer is like, oh, I'm not saying I don't believe in theirs, but I'm not saying I have an idea what it is. But I know
okay.
that's not
I
true.
think it's misleading.
I thought I was kind of looking for an answer.
Okay.
But no, it's all good.
No. As far as the plane, I know for sure if I look at everything else on Earth, okay, be it a pond, a lake, anywhere, okay, what we're missing is a shoreline. Okay, if it had been an ice wall dome, all right, the globe deception would have never been needed. All right, we would have already been encased. Okay, what the globe essentially did, and you may not see it yet, okay, is it put a circle around us. All right,
So
it penned us in.
Got to be a simulation.
Okay, I think it was done to contain us so we can be enslaved.
I was just gonna say, I don't even think you're like so much as a flat earther is that you're thinking like even further out of the box.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm trying to hear you out on for.
Right.
Is that I don't think you're a flat earther. I think that you think this is something way bigger. Way,
Like you said,
We
way
have
more
been-
a
different.
globe. What do you say?
A globe denier. I mean,
Globe
for sure.
denier.
I
well,
think that's better than flat earther.
Well,
Yeah,
a
for
globe
sure.
a globe is actually physically impossible. Okay, and
But I don't really see there no proof to prove that.
Okay,
there's a lot
let's break this down.
You can
and,
do a lot of experiments outside on your own to prove that we're rotating and we're on.
You see this right here?
Why do you turn it and the level stays the same? That's
No,
gravity,
no,
buddy.
no. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Fluid dynamics. Okay. Fluids always seek their level. All right. If they're at a
Gravity.
okay.
But you don't believe in gravity. You know how gravity's real? Why do your bubbles go up underwater? Pressure
not?
of the gravity condenses
It's called
in
density.
the water because of the
F-
pressure.
Everything was
gravity.
everything was explained. Okay, before gravity, everything was explained with density and buoyancy. Okay, if an item is more dense than the surrounding medium,
So you don't believe
to
in
hold
new
it up.
ideas? You're just...
No, I do. Okay, but I also
I think our ancestors were really fucking intelligent too, though. And I still believe a lot of shit that they say. But some ideas... Not
Okay.
everything's bullshit, bro. Not
gravity is God in the gaps.
Some
Okay.
things can't be hidden. You know how big of a cover up every nation would have to be involved. I'm talking about maybe 2 billion people probably. There's 7, 8 on Earth. That's a
Wouldn't be
lot
near
to
that
keep a
many.
secret. It would have to be every
It wouldn't
nation.
It wouldn't be near that. Look,
First of
my
all,
teachers that
somebody would,
educated
like we were
me.
saying, somebody would have probably got a GoPro and drove off the edge of the wall on their bicycle or some shit just to prove the Earth is flat or whatever. Like there's a lot of proof and a lot of pictures and a lot of stuff saying there is, but when it comes to it's not, there's just this is what I think and this is what I
Okay,
say.
I'll give you a really good example. Okay, all right. If we take that, if we're having an honest conversation, All right.
Yep.
And we're talking to each other.
Which I like to think we are.
Okay. And we are.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
And we're not attempting to bullshit each other.
Yeah, for
okay?
sure.
And
Straightforward.
We're not, right.
Yeah.
And we're just being real. And I were to ask you, okay, without any appeals to anybody, okay, what is your number one proof that you live on a globe? Or what's your
Like,
best proof? What's your best proof?
I mean, I have, like, I would say I would have like 3 things that
Okay.
could probably prove it. One would be, why would every other planet be round and we'd be the only non-round planet? That's a lot to prove. My second one would be, like I was saying, you can go up to, if you're in New York or wherever, go up to the Empire State Building, whatever, stand on the top and look through a telescope. On a flat Earth, you should be able to see everything lined up. Mount Everest, everything that they claimed there, you would be able to see on a flat Earth. It wouldn't curve around. And then my third one would be the shadowing, because you can dig holes and measure shadows. It don't have to be just a stick sticking up the ground. You can dig holes because all these theories were proven like thousands of years ago. And you can measure shadows in multiple ways. And you can call a friend up in Alaska or Australia and like, let's measure shadows.
Okay.
And
If
maybe
we
it's
were
not
to,
definite proof
No,
that
no,
it's
but
round,
if
but
we-
it's definitely not. It's
Okay.
proven that it's not flat also.
Okay, let's take the last one first. Okay. If we walk outside to a street light and you stand on one side of the street light and I stand on the other side of the street light.
But the equation only works if there's enough a distance. You're gonna get, of course, if we're both standing right under the sun, it's gonna be,
but if we move,
there's enough distance between, because it's got to be enough
But
distance measured by how big the Earth is.
The critical factor in that equation that you're working out,
What is
is the distance to the sun. Okay, and those.
But on a flat Earth, it would be the same distance.
Okay. Anyway, if the sun were 93 million miles away, okay, you wouldn't have crepuscular rays coming through the clouds. Okay, I mean, if you guys look it up later, look up, because it couldn't happen. The sunlight would be coming in parallel. 93 million miles away, it'd be striking the Earth as parallel beams, not divergent.
Who said that?
Because that's the way it is. That's in the heliocentric model. That's what they claim. That's why Eratosthenes' experiment requires that the sun rays be coming in parallel. Okay, that experiment that you're talking about with the
They be coming in parallel. Yeah,
they
hit
have
everything.
to for that
on a
experiment
flat Earth
to have
menu, on a flat Earth model.
on the rays of
How?
light.
But if it's curvature, how would it become like parallel or whatever?
Okay, the Eratosthenes experiment, okay, on a spherical Earth requires the sunlight to be coming in from 93 million miles or whatever.
But I thought
away,
back then they thought it was only 60 million
from
miles
a
away.
great distance to where the sunlight is coming in parallel.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then the sphericalness or the sphericity of the Earth is what casts the shadows in different directions. Okay, that's the hypothesis that they put forward. That's what we've been going on this entire time. If you move the sun closer and make it more local, okay, you can achieve the same thing on a level plane without it being a spherical Earth.
But the shadows are not the same. They're more
You
fatter.
would get the same result as far as the angle, and that's what was measured. Okay, is
I
on
think
the
it was
same
like
day.
the all around shadow, like not just the angle. I think it was like the shape too that was like the circumference, like how big
I could be
it was.
wrong. I could be wrong. I'll give you that. But
I mean, I was
that's
reading
how
on
they
it earlier.
determined.
I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
but
how they
I think-
determined the. That's how they determined it was.
But
the
that's
angle
why
of the
they
shadow.
redid it.
That's
with
why
the,
they triangulate.
That's why they redid it from the poles with the holes in the ground, like a reverse idea of the whole thing. And
Right.
but I mean, it's
Okay, but anyway, so
it makes for good conversation.
Okay,
Like,
so
I like talking about it.
so the
I don't mind hearing about it.
the shadows and what was your
Why would all other visible planets be
Okay.
round and we'd be non-round?
Okay, that's kind of like if you look at okay, two things on that. One thing, for until recent history, okay, planets were called wandering stars because they had their own particular orbit.
What recent history? Because
Since Copernicus-
Sumerians 6,000 years ago knew the planets weren't. They knew
Okay.
about. They depicted our solar system in their
Right.
tablets.
They
were
did,
not
but they
wondering-
called them wandering stars. Okay, they were not called planets.
Because we rotate and they didn't see them all the
You know,
time.
you see the only thing they did with
Because it
with the
rotate-
plane is add a T, right?
But that's
You got
because
that,
it
right?
rotated and we didn't see those stars all the time. So that's why they call them wonder. And they changed 3 times out of the
Right,
year.
they retrograde and they do all kinds of weird shit. Okay, but they were called wandering stars. They weren't called. And I would.
But there's a scientific reason, like, and a actuality why they called them that. Because they didn't know about the equinoxes and the rotations
right,
of the Earth.
and I would suggest that you check out like P900 or P1000 footage of these planets.
Okay.
Okay, I would highly suggest that they're
What
not.
does that show?
That they're electrical energy, not terra firma, like we've been told. I mean, if you seriously check it out, it's amazing what you'll end up seeing.
So
on
then
it.
you're admitting some of this real knowledge is being leaked then? Like, because that would have to be a big cover up. Like, that's real big cover up.
Okay,
there.
but look,
I like cover ups and shit.
no, but okay, but anyway.
What
okay.
are your arguments for flat Earth? What are your main?
And the other part is it's a logical fallacy. It's like saying the pool table's got to be round because all the balls on it are round. It's a logical fallacy.
But what about the whole?
But I didn't
what
want to
about
just come at you that way.
What about
you know?
standing on the like Empire roof and looking straight with a telescope? You'd be able to see everything lined up that they say, right?
Okay, here's a good one for that, and that's why I was going to bring that up earlier, right? The Statue of Liberty, you can Google or Wiki or whatever, but Statue of Liberty is 320 something feet tall. On a clear day, it can be viewed from 60 miles away. Okay, so on spherical or 24,901 miles, right?
Truth.
You take 60 miles, multiply it by 60 miles, times the 8 inches per mile
But we're
squared,
not a
divided by
perfectly
12.
sphere Earth, and the plane goes up and down on Earth
Okay,
too. So
this
it's
is
not always
this is a
gonna-
viewing distance from over water.
but based on a perfect
This is-
circumference, though.
This is getting to the point, though. Okay, is it's viewed over water? Okay, right? Water always finds its level.
It curves.
Okay, water has never curved. You
It
cannot
curves
show
with the
me.
Earth.
Okay, the only thing.
If you're flying above 30,000 feet, you could see the slight curvature just in a plane.
Okay, I've got balloon footage. And,
But I mean, if you personally,
okay, the reason you see sphere out of the window is because
the curvature.
the windows are actually curved on the fuselage.
So
they are.
We got fisheye eyes, lens. We got.
Look at
curved
that. Next time
windows.
you fly. Next time you fly, look at it.
That's the only way. But wow, so I got circle windows
it's-
in my bathrooms that I had, and nothing ever curved outside those windows though.
How thick are your bathroom windows? Come on, man. All right. Anyway,
So now they're designed to make everything look like a curvature.
no, they're not designed for that. They were
they're part of
designed
the-
for the plane.
they're part of
No,
the cover-up?
No, not at all.
I think what he's saying is like the
You
outside
can't walk
of
me down the
a
nutty
plane
road.
is
My
round.
shit's solid. You can't walk me down
I know
the
what
nutty.
he's trying to say, but I don't see no.
Okay.
I can't.
I'm just saying-
Wrap my mind around that being part of it. Like, yeah, now
Listen,
the
I
windows
don't think
make you
he's.
see curves.
I don't think he's gonna be able to convince you or anything like that.
I'm not trying to really. I mean,
We're just here to like why his reasonings are.
Okay, now here's the thing that did it for me. Okay, there was two things really that did it for me that just made 100% sense to me. Okay, with the Earth spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, roughly it's give or take somewhere between
Why
6.
don't everybody fly off?
Well, that's the magic of gravity. Okay, and by the way, gravity for this globe cult religion. Okay, gravity is the god. Okay,
Not in a cult.
I hate to. Let me
You know,
ask you a
cult
question.
you know
Let
what
me
a
ask you
cult
a
means,
question.
though. Cult only means secret, hiding,
Okay,
and hidden.
let me-
It doesn't. It's not really.
I'm
mainstream term
I'm not
of cult.
using. Yeah, I'm not saying a cult. Okay, I'm saying cult in the Jim Jones drink the Kool-Aid sense. Okay, that's what I mean when I'm saying cult. I mean cult. Okay, if you were born into a cult, okay, indoctrinated since birth, and everybody around you believed what you were told, you would not know you were in a cult.
Of course.
Okay, you would not know until you were on the other
But that's
side.
the good thing that we're not in the classroom. We are, but
Okay.
we live in the age of information right now. You got information at your fingertips.
Right.
But Brandon,
And
what-
look at what's
what are your-
exploded since 2015.
What are your main things about the flat Earth or the rock?
Well, I haven't even really gotten to a good point, but I haven't talked to you at all. So
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm listening. I want to hear. I'm not like really here to argue with you about it or
Right.
anything. I want to hear your opinion on what got you to this road? Because I mean, we were talking even a little bit just before the podcast. You're a smart guy. I want to know like what your, you know, basically what your thinking is on everything. So I'm kind of
do me a favor if you would while we're doing this. Google how far away can you see the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, but that's situational.
You're going to see the way this is worded. Like, are you Google?
And I'm sure
All
you
right,
could
I'll humor
probably
it.
find
I'll humor
100
it.
articles
Okay,
that
the
say a different thing, but
Statue. Okay, this is Google. First thing that pops up on Google: the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor stands 326 feet above sea level, and on a clear day can be seen as far as 60 miles away. If the
60
Earth
miles
were a
away.
ball, Lady Liberty would sink 2,074 feet below the horizon. That is
Okay.
from WordPress. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
now
WordPress.
Okay. So
What kind of weight?
what
do
did
they
that? No, but I mean that's just your first. Google how far away
Yeah, but
can
you know,
see a
I
lighthouse?
can get my stuff to pop up first on Google too. If I
No,
want
no,
to,
but I
so-
mean this isn't. Me.
I mean, but you can.
The argument
there's
I've
techniques
heard
to
of
it.
like why you can't see like Mount Everest and shit is like it made sense to me. I'm not really believing like
No,
flat
no,
Earth
no.
or anything. Is air pollution, which I totally believe.
Right, right, and there's moisture.
There's a ton of shit in our
Right.
air and stuff like that. That's why you can't. Even if you went to Tampa, you couldn't really see the tallest building in Orlando, even though
So
Florida's
for
flat. as shit.
360 degrees, our air is so polluted you wouldn't be able to
No,
see.
no, I'll
anything.
give you a
We
really.
would die from pollution.
I'll
if
give
that
you a
was
really
the
good
cause.
example.
look at
I used to
China.
live up in Chicago. Okay, on some days we used to go over to Michigan. They got dunes and stuff like that over there, and
Yeah.
Indiana dunes and stuff. Okay, on some days you could see the Chicago skyline, and on some days you couldn't. And it didn't mean it was pissed down rain or anything like that. It was temperature stuff. The moisture coming up off the water would
Humidity,
like
things
literally affect, your vision, right? If you Google how far away you can see lighthouses, okay, it'll
All right,
give
but
you.
that's all. That's
Yeah,
all,
it'll give
that's
you-
all situational.
okay,
It doesn't.
but-
It's not all like this.
Okay,
like-
the point of that is nobody's able to find a
all right.
curve.
Do you know if you stand directly on the coordinates for the North Pole, right?
Okay.
And you walk 1 mile south, you walk 1 mile west, and 1 mile north, you'll be exactly where you started. Right? That can only happen on a circular planet. There's videos, time-lapse videos of people recording themselves doing this the
Okay.
whole time. And there's also time-lapse videos if
So
you want
what
to
you're
start
saying-
Googling.
wait,
There's
wait, hold on,
time-lapse
hold on,
videos
hold
of
on,
people
hold on.
standing
You're
at the
you're
top
a-
of the globe watching
You're a realist.
everything spin.
You're a realist, right? You're a realist, okay? You just told me that there was videos of people basically marking out a triangle.
I mean, since we're talking about videos.
No. I agree. Okay, videos are.
There's all right. There's GPS coordinates
No,
you
but
can
I'm
look up
saying-
of people doing these patterns and coming back going 1 mile north, 1 mile west, and 1 mile, or excuse me, 1 mile south, 1 mile north, and 1 mile west and 1 mile
I get
north, and getting
regardless.
right a triangle and getting right back to the where they started. And that can only I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 places on Earth you can do that, or maybe even only one.
Right.
And it can only look it up, Google it if you want to
No,
start.
no, no,
Googling
no, I
stuff.
believe- no,
And
no,
it's
I'm
on
not
there.
trying
It
to-
can only happen on on like a round planet.
I understand.
I
that.
mean, if there's no solid proof to debunk that's been proven, then I'm
Okay.
kind of like,
Okay.
I'm kind of
Wait,
like,
you can't. Okay, now remember before, right? We broke down the sciences. Okay, right? In order for something to be scientific, okay, and you want facts, okay, you cannot take a mathematical, which is a formal science, okay, which is different than a natural science. You cannot take a hypothetical, okay, mathematical construct, okay, gravity, okay, and argue it against a natural science tangible fact. That is the sophistry that they've done to us, okay? And you can believe me or not believe me, but I swear to God, I'm telling you the fucking truth, okay? That is what has been done to us, all right? I like, look at me.
I mean,
deep.
I believe it on, I
telling
believe it
you.
on levels. I believe it on levels, but
I'm telling you, that is what has been done to us. They have overlaid a
so then what are
mathematical
we doing?
construct.
What are we here for? What are we doing? Like,
That's the question, okay? And something's been hidden from us, okay? And we have been contained.
I mean, they give us answers.
Okay, we have been contained. Think about fiat currency, Okay? Think about what's going on around us on this place. Okay? Whatever fucking shape it is.
Even Bitcoin.
Okay? Think about, well, we're being moved to blockchain. If you don't realize they're about to crash the dollar, you're a fool. Okay?
They've been about to crash the dollar for 40 years now.
Okay. Well, they'll do it when they're ready. Okay?
Of course.
They've only got our guns.
They do everything when they're ready.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
they created the dollar when they was ready.
Right, but I mean that's another story. But think about what's been done. Okay, all right, our water's being poisoned, our food's being altered, we're being vaccinated, we're being killed, we're being enslaved.
Population.
Okay, all right, okay. To think that they wouldn't put up an invisible wall in our mind to contain us, so they can do that to us. Okay.
What's the invisible wall? What's the invisible wall in our mind?
The invisible wall is
all
the
lies.
globe.
The lies.
No, the invisible wall is the globe, dude.
To contain us where then?
On the globe.
And doing what we're doing.
What's outside of the globe?
Where else would we go?
What's outside the globe?
How would we get out there though?
What's outside the globe?
You know, Elon Musk is not contracted. Well, he has contracts with NASA because he does most of their payloads. But you know, he's a private invested SpaceX company. Mm-hmm. So he's in on with the lie too, right? He's all.
Okay, well,
that's a lot of people.
Okay,
bro.
look. I'll give you a really good example. Okay, a real recent example. Okay.
What about his car that's flying around past Mars just now?
Okay, you believe there's a fucking car? All right. Anyway, there's.
So what do you believe then?
I believe a lot of stuff, right? I'll give you a good example. Remember back when Richard Branson and his buddy, right, went up in that balloon, Fawcett, or whatever his name was. You remember that? They went up in that hot air balloon and traveled around and all that, right? Right after they got done doing that, okay, Richard Branson, right, decided he'll play game with them, okay, because he got to see some shit when he was up there, okay? Fawcett, experienced pilot. Look at how Fawcett died, okay? Look at die? He crashed his plane in perfect weather, fucking unbelievable death, all right? And then Richard Branson becomes a knight, okay? And now his Virgin Galactic shit is going off again, okay? One of them, the Reaper's trying to get me.
Matches your shirt.
Yeah, it's like, shut the fuck up.
He's like, bullshit. Boom.
No, but okay. The water is level, man, okay? Water is contained by a shoreline. You know, there's not over 100 feet all across the plain. Okay, the original sea level was taken from one data point.
Flat, the water would still be flat.
The water is what tells me it's a level plain. Okay, the topography of the Earth goes up and down. You go from the Himalayas to Death Valley. Okay, the topography of the land is up and down. Okay,
so then we live in 2 dimensions, or
no? But
that's basically what that is.
No, not at all. But if you take
up and down right in front of you, that's 2 dimensions. Maybe because we see in 3 dimensions, that's why everything's spherical or whatever.
Yeah, well, the sphere is the eyes. The reason that we do see any kind of curve would be.
I think it's a conscious thing. I think our ancestors were super more conscious than we were at a certain point.
Sure.
And I think maybe that they were so higher on their conscious that they seen in the other dimensions that we did. And maybe that this Nibiru is something that's not visible to us, but it's there. Because from what they say as explaining the solar system and like all the gravity and the poles from all the planets, like everything, it kind of makes sense, but it don't. And then when they throw that Sumerian Nibiru planet in there, it equals out.
Right, right. It really does make sense. It really makes sense.
They said when you move it away from the equation, it causes more problems than actually making sense. I thought that shit was interesting.
No, it is really interesting. Okay, and
are you open to thinking there might be like string theory? Have you ever heard of that? Like multiple dimensions that
no, I'm not really. No,
I don't know how it works.
Where I'm at right now with it, okay, is and speaking of the Nibiru thing, okay, and all that, is I'm convinced that we live on a level stationary plane. Okay, the idea that I would know the extent of it, there's a lot of people out there, flat earthers, whatever, okay, that try to push this model. The biggest one with the ice wall and the dome, they think
Can
they
I
have
ask you this? Are those people that push that model, are they like the CIA and the Martin Luther King riots starting fights, or the CIA that infiltrated
the ones
Black
at the very
Panthers
top?
and
The
started
ones
shit?
at the very top,
All right,
I believe, are
all right.
the deep state.
Okay.
They could be those. They could. Be
I don't think.
All right.
I don't think that anyone. Okay, because I do
So we live in a simulation then.
No,
We
I
have
don't
to.
think so.
What are we then? What do you? If you
I
had to
think
put
that's the
one,
question.
if you had to put one thing
that's the big
together,
question.
no, but your
That's the
personal
question.
opinion,
And I
not-
think it's
not the
being hidden
question,
from us.
But your
Seriously.
personal opinion,
Yeah.
if you had to put one answer together on what you think we could be right now, what do you think it would be?
I think we're being kept, okay,
But,
from
I
a
mean,
very close shoreline.
If we're not
okay,
a simulation,
that we're not supposed to be like this.
we're
okay?
not human, or
No,
how is
we
this working?
are human, okay. But look at a 2-year-old. If
Who
you've ever,
created
if you've
us?
been around a new child anytime recently, look at it like a 1 to 2-year-old. Okay, we are born explorers. Okay, we push the boundary.
That's true.
right?
Okay.
If you kept us contained, okay, we would be up against the fucking wall, going, "I want out of here."
I mean, we
okay,
been to the moon.
a large.
We got rovers on Mars,
Oh, okay.
satellites everywhere.
They got to do something with, last year, okay, the space agencies across this place, and yes, they are working in concert.
Those are a lot of cover-ups and
Okay,
lies. To
let me give you a figure.
you think
300.
they keep us busy with other shit?
Yeah,
Aliens
for
and
sure.
shit, like,
300
So we don't question that.
$330 billion. Okay, in just a couple years, it will be $1 billion a day going to the space agencies. I'm not talking about
Which
foreign.
one?
To all of
NASA,
them.
NASA definitely don't get that
No,
much.
all
It's
of them
not even in
across
their
the plane.
budget.
All of them
There's
across
only
the-
like
NASA gets 52 to 57 million, depending on who you hear, a day. Okay, $18 billion budget. Okay, last year's space budget across the plane was $330 billion.
for
Talk
the
about a
entire world.
planet.
Across the plane. That's how I put it.
Plane.
I don't
We're
buy
just
into that
we're
bullshit.
just-
I
we're
know.
just making
I know.
sure that's
that.
what you
Okay.
mean by
Plane
that.
Yeah, everywhere. Okay, all the space agencies are working in concert. Okay, they are all doing it equally.
I mean, there's only like a.
They're
We're definitely not working with them
Three,
because there was a space
one-
race. If you don't remember
Let me.
that,
Okay.
we can't be working with
I
somebody.
think he's
if
talking
there's a
about like
space
the
race.
UN.
Do you really believe? Okay. Do you really believe these different governments are at odds with each other? Do you really buy
There's
that?
all
No.
kinds of wars all the time, so they got to be at odds
Is that
with each other.
or is that depopulation and getting rid of the useless eaters?
Let's work with each other and have wars and just kill everybody.
I mean,
Let's look at
That's
vaccines.
way-
let's
listen,
look at
listen,
water and
listen,
fluoride in the water.
listen,
Let's
I'm
look
all-
at GMOs.
I'm all good
Let's
with
look
a.
at-
I'm all in with a good conspiracy. That's way too many people to be in on it. Way
How-
too many
it's
people
actually-
to manipulate.
it actually
It's
shortens
not-
it.
It's not. You're talking about every nation, every person in every nation's government. Of
You're talking about
multiple
the
people.
earth. You're talking about the earth being run by one criminal cabal. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's too
That's
many
not
people.
that many
It's
people.
Too many people.
No, it's a
involved.
lot of people if you keep it in your head your
No,
way.
when you
It's
break
the
it down
earth
and
being run.
when you break it down and see what has to happen to run that way, that's a lot of people putting shit in play and in position for it to go like
It's
that. It's
people
not
have
going to
to-
happen
I
naturally.
think it's just chain of command, though.
Yeah, I mean, how
can
would
just-
you?
That's
How much?
still a
would-
lot of people. There's 8 billion
Yeah, but you
people
just-
on Earth. What do you think the chain of command is? 10 people out of 8 billion?
I'm just saying, people just do what they're told. That's their
They
job.
do, but the chain of command is not 10 people out of 8 billion.
How many? Let me ask you
And
a
once
question.
it starts getting to hundreds of thousands, you're gonna have a hard time keeping a secret. And
Okay, you and I
guarantee
both
you
know-
it's more than that.
You and I both know, okay, that income tax has never been ratified, right? We're not secret holders of this knowledge. A lot of people that listen to your podcast will know. Okay, how many people do you think are
Certain states did vote for it.
okay?
And
But I
certain,
mean,
certain
right?
ones
But
didn't.
it
was
takes
never-
it takes 2/3 to ratify
It
a
does, and it
constitutional
was- all right,
amendment.
so,
okay,
yeah.
according to our paperwork that they threw
I
away.
agree, it's a scam.
No, okay, but we're not the only ones that know that. Okay, I guarantee you, if you go in and do a new job, knowing what you know, you're gonna fill out your W-4 like a good guy and turn that shit in and collect your fucking paycheck. Okay, regardless of what you fucking know. Okay, you're gonna still do what you need to do.
So why are we talking about aliens instead of that?
No, I'm just saying that the we have
We don't know that though. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We would know that if that many people
You-
were
you guys-
involved.
you guys have
whether
heard
we
of-
didn't care about it or not,
Okay.
we would still know about it, but we don't.
Okay, it's coming to light. Okay, it really is. Okay, there's not a.
You're talking about the deep state.
It's way beyond the deep state.
Yeah,
Okay.
deep
It's
state.
it's naive to think when I'll give you a good example. Okay. 5G. Okay,
Yep.
there's another evolution to this that's beyond flat Earth to me that my channel will eventually go to, but I think this is the most important thing for me to talk about right now.
His channel on YouTube is Eye Level Awakening. So
Yeah, I'm not
look it
trying
up,
to-
subscribe.
Plug it in. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. But
Robert Matthews.
But I'm if you look at anything, okay, across the plane, okay, be it vaccines, be it GMOs, be it the fracking with oil, be it 5G, be it with the health concerns and all that, but there's a real big problem behind that people aren't aware of, or some people are, and
No,
most people aren't.
I've heard about it too.
Yeah, most people aren't.
Of course.
And
It's a military weapon.
well, it's
lot of
the
shit.
Chinese social credit that's already being carried out.
Right.
If you guys look at your IDs, the
Yeah.
entire United States will be real ID by 2020. I don't want to take any topics or whatever,
Okay,
but
right.
like there's something happening that free thought and free speech is an endangered species.
Yeah, look at Julian Assange.
Right.
Freedom of press, that shit's dead now.
Look at
Okay.
YouTube or Me Too.
You guys
Me
checked
too.
out the Julian?
Me Too
I
movement.
did.
Every
Yeah,
time you try
yeah,
to say something,
yeah.
they attack whatever. You can't have freedom of speech
it's
no more
re-
without somebody.
What
attacking.
happened
I don't
last
want to
week-
get off too
Right.
off topic either, but it's just curious that he's now being arrested after this Mueller report, the Mueller report.
Even
Curious to see how that might play out
right
with
and
each other.
yeah, and interesting too is that the IMF just approved a $4.2 billion aid package to Ecuador, which of course in the last week, which absolutely had nothing to do with them allowing a foreign a party to bum rush their country in their embassy. That 4.2 IMF had nothing to do with that, right? And we're supposed to believe that shit. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of stuff.
I mean, they
going on
do
right
lie
now.
about a lot of shit, and they do manipulate a lot of
Okay.
shit. Like, look,
We've-
they do it to their own people.
Listen,
so I'm
what-
not
this-
saying they don't do that.
Yeah.
of course.
Okay.
Of course they do that. That's what this.
Right.
That's what we're about.
Right. This is the
But-
hardest thing. Okay. This is something that they put in our head. Okay. That we never again faced in our life. Okay. Before you doing this or whatever. Okay. This is something I went through my entire life and never questioned. Okay. I was telling him I was a fucking NASA fanboy. I was, that's why I got sucked down the common Elenin and the Nibiru hole. Okay. Because like, it's always fascinating. I've been bedazzled. I didn't watch the original Star Trek, Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, fucking all that shit. Okay, never really too much Star Wars, but you know what I mean? I was in it,
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, my entire fucking life, okay? And they ruined it for me, And really when you look at it,
I mean, what's the most convincing thing? Like, you're so convinced that they ruined it for you. Like I mean, I know they lie a lot. We all know that. But what
Okay.
is the most convincing
There is-
proof
there is-
besides them lying?
okay, there is no proof, okay, of the ability for gravity, okay, to pull water in, okay, all right.
So what's
And-
holding the water down? If we're not spinning,
okay,
why are we not?
I have an
Well,
opinion
he said-
that up
he
is
said
up,
that- he
up
said
is
that.
up, and down is down, and everything has its level, and
That's it?
and according to its density, yes,
What
it's
governs
simple.
that though? What governs that?
It's the way everything fucking is, man.
That's the way it appears to be through the same thing.
Okay,
that
let's
you
just
say
say
is
let's just say it's as simple as what it is. Okay, let's assume that we are men and we don't know the answers to
So
everything.
we're not breathing oxygen.
It's a combination of gases, right?
I mean, it is, but we're not
Okay.
breathing.
Where did you get that though? What oxygen?
No,
asking
he's just
a
trying to
question.
see if I. No, he's trying to test me to see if I deny everything. It's understandable. I've had these conversations. Okay. Interesting enough, I love it when people do this, and trust me, you'll know over time that I have actually given this some fucking thought because there's no way I would open myself to the rhetoric. I'll put it this way: I could grow a full beard, dress in a purple fucking dress, and go into a bank in the middle of on a Friday when it's completely packed, everybody cashing their paychecks, in a purple dress and heels with a beard, talking about I just got abducted by aliens, and I would get more respect than telling somebody I think the Earth is flat.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I
maybe
do, for sure.
40 years ago. Not,
No,
not,
I
not
guarantee-
nowadays. You won't.
No, I guarantee
You'll
you,
get.
I would.
You'll be the first thing on World Star Hip Hop that anybody sees. Like you would be.
No, I'm just saying it's more acceptable for me to be that. Okay, I definitely wouldn't put myself in this position studying what I've studied
Right.
to ever come forward with something like this. My channel isn't monetized. On none of my videos do you ever see like, share, or subscribe.
Yeah, I got
okay,
you.
all right. I'm doing this from the heart. Okay, I've never put myself on YouTube for any truth I've discovered. I've discussed it
But
with
you
friends.
should put you should put a little,
Well,
little
you know,
subscribe button on the end of your video.
That's cool. Okay, but I'm
Especially
just
if you
saying.
believe in what you're saying and you want them to know, like it's easy for them to hit that button and be right there with
Everybody
you.
that I've liked their content, I've subscribed and hit the bell. I'm a grown man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
But some
I
people
don't
are
need to be-
lazy. You know they're. You know, you know
Well,
how
if
it
you're too
is.
lazy, if I look at it this way, okay, if you're too lazy to do the intelligent thing,
Then I don't want
then
you.
my content's not
Yeah,
for you
yeah,
anyway.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to wake fucking, you know what I mean. I'm on a mission. So, and it's just me with my little shovel. Okay, but I'm gonna use my
Just
little
digging
fucking
away.
shovel. You know what I mean?
So if the Earth's not round, what happens when you get to the other side with that shovel?
Okay, if you look on my channel, okay, I've got a good things to know playlist. Okay, how to start fires, how to preserve different foods, how to harvest meat, how to skin things, how to do different things. I've been on since I realized this, I realized that one day we may get a chance to go to the other shore. The control mechanism that's kept us enslaved may break
So
down.
you believe there's another shore then?
For sure.
See, that's what I was trying to
Everything,
ask you the whole
everything,
time when
everything.
like,
I
if you
was
don't
trying
believe
to
this, you don't
explain to you.
believe that. What is,
I was trying to explain it
so
to you.
you believe there's another shore? We're
That's what
on
I
an
was.
island.
That's what I was trying to get with him. Is that there's maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's not your map, but the maps that I've seen, and it's not even the AE map.
Right.
It's more big. It's like bigger than that, and
Right.
that we're just kind of maybe not in the center or wherever the hell we might be,
Right.
but that there is other planes and other land
Right,
masses
a
out
lot
there.
more land.
So
That-
there's no space.
I
Then
believe,
you don't
Robert,
believe in
that you-
space. There's no space.
The high altitude balloons, the way it appears to me, okay, and just talking about, and I've watched most of those high altitude balloons are about 3 hours long, okay, to watch it come up to
That's
altitude.
a lot. You watch them.
Okay. But I'm trying to look at different things when I watch them. Okay. I'm looking at I've noticed by watching them that gas seems to settle, which explains the gradient pressure. Okay. The idea, this is one of the best proofs. They tell you that space is like a 17 torr, maybe or something like that. A perfect vacuum. What they say,
Yeah,
there's not a
vacuum.
perfect vacuum. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's something like 17 torr. Okay. Compared to our PSI down here. Okay. Never can you recreate a vacuum existing next to a pressurized system without a solid barrier. And that's where all these fools get off with their dome. Okay. I don't believe space is a vacuum. Okay. And it appears that at some point when you go up in it,
You're talking about space out of our solar
I'm
system.
talking about going up. I'm
Out
not
of
talking
our
about,
solar-
I don't buy the solar
but-
system shit anymore.
But that's out of our solar system, though.
No.
Up is out of our solar system.
No, up is off this planet.
Because they say that those planets that's being held together, that's what the gravity creates. That
I'm telling you, if you look at a P900 or a P1000 visual of those planets, you'll see it's energetic energy, man. It's not terra firma. The moon appears to be terra firma.
so we're like in the real Matrix. Everything's energy based.
No,
I mean
I'm telling you,
we're
there's-
energy first, but
No, it is like the Matrix in this sense, okay? And this is something that you'll seriously have to. You may brush me off as being
no,
a
I'm trying to
nutcase.
get an overall understanding
Okay,
of it,
but
like
you-
the whole thing, not just the
Right. Okay. Well, it's my opinion that we're just being kept with the shore. Okay. The Antarctic Treaty that now is supposed to be protecting the bottom of the globe. Okay. And they're saying for some marine reason, anything below the 70th parallel, I believe you'll have to check. I'm not sure if that's exactly right. I think it's the 70th. Okay. But on a flat plane, if you put the say the North Pole more towards the center of the plane, okay, that we know of, okay, I'm not saying that's all there is, and you go out to the 70th parallel or whatever the Antarctic Treaty is. By the way, the only treaty that all the nations have agreed to
Not
and
all,
have
but
never
most-
broken,
but most.
but they've never
Most
broken
of
it,
them,
even
but
in times of war.
Yeah.
We've never broken those treaties, coincidentally. But what essentially they do is
why
put a
do
circle.
you say that? Like, what's your reason for them never breaking them?
Because that's the fence.
Defense.
The Antarctica is the fence, the bottom of the globe, the 70th
So
parallel.
it is the ice wall then.
No, I don't think it's an ice wall. If there
I mean,
was
a fence, a wall, that's the same thing.
and I think that there may be more north too. Okay, everything points to north. The compasses point to north. The North Star. All indications in my heart. If I had one direction to travel, I would go north. I wouldn't go south.
I mean, our ancestors went north.
Okay, they built the ice wall. They got all this hype going south. I'm going north. Okay, you know what I mean? I mean the narrative, the controlled opposition, the government agents, the where they want to lead us, the way they seized every movement that's ever happened in the history
You
of
think
man.
everything is controlled on that much of a level? Like that's a lot.
If you had to control,
I'm just asking you. Yes, right? You do. To me that's a lot. I just want to know. That's
have
a
you
lot,
have
bro.
you have you okay? Do you think that like Albert Pike's 1871 letter, you know, talking about Israel and stuff? Do you believe that stuff's going to happen? Do you believe that they
I believe
orchestrated
shit is
one and two?
some of it, but for everything, I'm just saying. To
No,
me,
I
that's
mean,
a lot. That's
I
a
mean,
lot.
you believe the Lusitania went down the way they said, the Gulf of Tonkin. You believe all those?
Yeah, I mean,
Pearl Harbor. You believe all that shit happened the way it
question
was?
a lot of things. I question a lot of things.
So I'm saying if they would go to those great lengths, okay, we've had presidents assassinated. You know what I mean, Ford was killed in Lincoln Theater. Lincoln, or you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
the weird.
The common area.
Yeah,
I got you.
Okay,
I've seen that. Yeah, you're right.
And think of the length that what they've done. Okay, to people. Do you believe there's harm in vaccines?
We're just so brainwashed at this point that
Sheeple.
They're doing it. They're doing it, man. And we, like, it's interesting that you bring up Assange, right? On one of my videos on there, I've listened to this. It's like about 45 minutes long. I've listened to his interview. I don't know how many times. God, every time I listen to it, I hear something else. Because this guy is so well informed. I'm sure he'll never see the light of day again. They're going to kill his ass. I mean, for sure.
They do all of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get him.
William Cooper.
But he more or less implied that somewhere around 2000 that the way he put it was kind of like the AI is basically taking control by now. Okay, and I don't know that that's how it plays out or whatever, but
not by now or soon.
No, well, I mean, if you look at Chinese social credit. I mean, if
that shit's scary as fuck.
Yeah,
that's just
that'll be completely.
One place, though.
No, it's not just one place.
Right now, it is.
Okay, it's beginning elsewhere. It's already on iPhones in this country. Okay, it will be.
iPhones ain't even Chinese.
Okay, there's a reason why they're shoving.
They're made in China.
No, they're not Chinese-based company though. It's
but I mean,
manufactured there. But
Apple did move their like headquarters and shit, and like a lot of big corporations.
If you look into the top
Chinese
5,
actually have the second biggest cellular company in the world right now.
What is it? Huawei.
Yeah, and that's China.
Huawei.
And it's outsold Apple, and it's number 2 to Samsung.
Right.
And
yeah, but that new one or something like that, like we can't have it over here.
Yeah, it's like
right, but we're
on a globe. Look, if it was flat, we could have it over here.
No, but
all right.
You look at the top 5 AI companies. Okay, the top 5 AI companies, they're all out of Israel. Okay, if you stop looking at things like their separate governments and competition and start looking at it, if you had to farm people,
they already do.
Right,
they've been farming.
Okay,
government or human farmers.
Okay, but it's not just in this country.
They give the welfare out. Like, we give you the milk and cheese you need to survive. We give you your shots. We farm you enough to get the money that we need to generate.
Right, and coincidentally, you die of cancer,
from eating the food that you're...
Yeah, 2-3 years after you die. And coincidentally, Bayer just bought Monsanto. So
exactly.
All right, so you can...
for every argument that you present, like, oh, they lied about this. They lied about fucking Paul Harbor. They lied about this. They lied about that. At the same time, that people
the water tells you everything, man. The water can't lie.
But people can also argue, like, why did they kill William Cooper? Why did they kill all these other and if aliens don't exist and all this shit don't exist and we're living on a flat, why would they kill him? Or there's a lot of them, and the list goes on and on. Harvard Garvey or whatever, like the list goes. Why would they kill? If it's fake information and
okay,
why would they kill them?
Look, they've already sold us a bunch of shit by saying fossil fuels. There's no way that. I'm good.
You're right. You need a water, actually? Was that what you're saying?
No, I'm good.
He was showing you that it's level.
It's always level. And as much as Einstein wanted to, Tesla nailed him. Okay,
for sure.
And the mathematical construct that started from a premise that it was a sphere. It took him years to work out to finally make it fucking work, which nobody could fucking understand but a very few people, okay, if anybody else, right? That mathematical construct does not change the physics of liquid, okay? You've got to look into how sheet glass is produced, okay? Sheet glass is produced
Fire,
by
lightning,
no.
couple
They
things.
make a molten bed of tin, okay, and they pour liquid glass over it. Okay, these glass manufacturing plants are a quarter-mile long. The cooling bed for this glass, they call glass perfectly flat. Okay, the molten steel or the molten tin.
So how are levels never level then? If we're
It's
on a
always level to the
it's
plane.
not. It's not.
That's how we build everything.
Somebody recently.
Do you realize that
somebody recently just took a level on the plane to try to prove
Yeah,
the Earth
D
was
Marble.
flat and
D Marble did
failed.
it years ago, okay? And it was on Reddit and it went viral and that's how he blew up. Okay?
for being proved wrong.
No.
So, but levels are never. If
Okay.
we wouldn't have to level shit if we were on a flat
Okay,
plane.
well, no, it would never work on a sphere. All right, now let me ask you. You mentioned
that's
an
why
airplane.
you need a level to get
okay,
it to
you
work.
imagine. Now, I want you to do a little thought experiment with me. Okay, you take off on a plane. Okay, let's say you're flying from Florida out to Cali. You ever done that flight or
I
Colorado?
haven't. Oh, I've actually been to Colorado,
I've
but
done
I drove.
Colorado, yeah.
Okay. So you take off here, right? Goes up 35,000 feet, 40,000 feet, whatever, levels off. Okay. Take off your seatbelts. You wander around. Let me ask you, during that, 3-hour flight, three and a half
About 3 hours, yeah,
Okay.
3.5.
During that 3-hour flight, do you feel the nose continuously going down like this? You do realize that the plane the entire time is flying with its nose up. Right? And the artificial horizon that's made is made from
All
a
right,
gyroscope that puts you.
If I'm flying around something this small, then I'd have to keep curving and curving.
No,
it's
no,
so huge that you don't feel the curvature. That's like why you don't see the curvature
Okay.
from space.
All right,
You're
let
not
me-
gonna feel the curvature while you're flying. You're not gonna feel the nose dip around the curvature.
Okay.
It's too big to feel that.
Okay, now that is what they tell us. Okay, right? I'll give you.
I mean, it's provable.
Okay,
from
I'll give you.
the instruments and the science that they give us. That's provable.
Okay, I'll give you a real good example. Have you ever heard of a Navy rail gun?
Navy rail gun.
Right, it's
I haven't.
electromagnetic gun. You guys should check it out on my.
Electromagnetic gun. That sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, you should check it out on my channel sometime. It's excellent.
What does it do?
It's magnetic, and the Navy it's implemented now in the U.S. Navy and Chinese. Okay, and you'd have to watch it to see. But what it does is it fires a solid projectile, non-guided projectile. Okay, at hypersonic or hyper velocity. Okay, when it leaves the
Hypervelocity.
hypervelocity,
mean?
at least Mach 5. Okay,
Mach 5, so it's
at least
I got you.
Mach 5. When it leaves the weapon, the reported figures from Popular Science, and this is pre-flat Earth awareness or whatever, before Eric Dubé published,
Isn't Mach 5 only like capable on a sphere, on a round planet with like gravity and
it should
shit
be.
though?
It should be, but
So we're observing something that shouldn't happen then?
No, yeah, exactly. If it were actually a ball. Okay, so and it actually leaves the gun at 7.5. Okay, but by the time it arrives at its target and the published figures, okay, and it's going to be probably a greater distance than that. The U.S. figures a maximum effective range of 100 miles, and the Chinese say 124 miles. Okay, on a ball, 24,901 miles. Okay, and these weapons are non-guided. Okay, they fire directly to the target. They showed one example in a Popular Science that I took. They took 200 nautical miles with traditional ballistics. Took 8 minutes or 6 minutes to arrive to target. Okay, fired from like a Navy gun to a ground target.
Gotcha.
Right? The Navy rail gun is a direct fire at Mach 7.5 is where it leaves the weapon system, and it arrives in the target, or it says it arrives to horizon, which is 3 to 5 miles
Which is
or whatever.
GPS guided or?
No, it's a solid projectile, and the guy even goes through it in my clip that I have on my channel. It's from the Navy guy himself in charge of the program. It's so this isn't like debatable or whatever, right? So at 100 miles, though, if you take the 100 times 100 times 8 inches, right, divided by 12 to get the feet, you end up with well over a mile of curvature missing. Okay, and in fact, they haven't been able to find measurable curvature anywhere. But that system is impossible on a globe. You would literally, if you can visualize it, you would literally have to fire into the water to hit a target that far away. If you feel me on that, it would be.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, and if you really look at it, I mean, for tangible, okay, and we talked about moving or not moving. Everybody's heard about the Coriolis effect, okay, and you hear about it with the toilets flushing, which they proved is ridiculous. It's
so we're just some anomaly then, just in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by a bunch of energy balls that we think are planets.
No, I mean, it was hard for me to get, and I still look up at the sky every night, man. I'm fascinated by everything, and it's to be honest with you, it's.
I just want you to say yes, that's what we are, so I can know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I'll give you one on the. I'll give you one on the motion. Okay, right? It's another video on my thing. Not to plug my shit too much, but the Coriolis,
plug it, bro. You're
right?
good.
The Coriolis. I went with the sniper claim. Okay. Because long-range snipers, we've heard it before, and I've got a guy that testifies on there making the claim again that long-range snipers actually have to adjust for the Coriolis that they're shooting east or west. Okay, that's the claim. Anyway, anybody can research it. So I found this thing. It was old Mythbusters, and they've pulled it down now. I started using it.
But don't just research if that's the claim. Research why that's the claim.
Right. Well, if you were spinning 1,000 miles in one direction, okay, the Earth would drop away or rise up to you, okay, in the heliocentric model. There's a reason why they would have to adjust if it was true. Okay?
I mean, are all these calculations coming from a perfectly, circular? Because, I mean, the Earth's like a sphere, but it's still the
not even close to a sphere. The water makes it impossible to be a sphere. Okay.
What they say it's a sphere, right? They say it's a sphere. They say
you have to argue math
is
against
not
that.
Always level. It's not always.
No, it's not at all.
So you got to account for that. You can't just be like,
here's
every
the
theory.
Thing. Here's the thing, though. Okay. And that's why I said I'm going to accept their number on the water, okay, because I really don't know. I actually think the way they do everything, it's probably inverse. How they tell us that the planet is 70% water, okay, I believe that means that the plane is probably 70% land. Okay, that's just because they seem to flip everything. Okay. But if you take what they claim, okay, something that is 70% level could never form a sphere. Okay, and you can't argue a mathematical construct up against physical fucking reality.
What do you mean by 70% level?
Every time, okay, liquid, when it's contained, water, bodies of water, and I'm not talking about drops because you can do weird shit with meniscus and surface tension and shit. I'm not talking about fucking around on a little pin or nothing. I'm talking about bodies of water when you get like pond, pool, your bathtub, you know what I mean? A pond, a lake, the ocean. The original time that they took sea level, they took it from one datum point.
So what about the sea level
the
and
variation,
the gravitational of the moon?
But you can't buy
high
the gravitation.
Tide, low tide.
You can't buy the
high tide, low tide. What is that?
What happened with the Great Lakes, man?
How does that
the
happen
moon forget
if it's
about
flat, though?
The moon forget about the
Where
Great
is
Lakes?
it going if it's flat? It should be stationary. It should never move. We should
I have
get
no idea.
We should get one level lake, one
That's why
level
I want to
ocean.
see the shoreline. That's why I want to see the shoreline. Okay, because I know it's
if
close.
you had to pick one specific location with all your heart, like talking purely right now, where do you think you would go to get to that shoreline, or you don't have an idea right now?
No, I think like northwest. I think
because everything's south, they direct you south, so you think everything north, right?
And also because they've the length of time that it took them to put they appeared to know. Okay, imagine yourself on a ball. Okay. Alaska and the United States and Russia only have recently put listening posts and stuff like that in the big scheme of things. Okay, really recently in the last 20, 30 years have intensified their listening to the top of the planet. Okay, in the helio model, right?
Places that Tesla was listening to
almost as if they knew nothing would be coming from that direction. Okay, if you're on a ball, okay, and your enemy is completely undefended, it would not be hard at all to manipulate yourself to come from that point. Okay, it makes the ball really impractical. the way that they defended themselves. Okay, it was almost like they knew that something wasn't coming from that way. All right. There is also great evidence across the plane, and we were talking
But
about
you
the
don't think
NASDAQ
that there's
lines
other
and
ways
Easter
that
Island.
they would have figured out that
I think these people have left. Okay, if you look at the anomaly of Easter Island
with the statues?
yeah, with the statues, okay, they can't understand. It appears that they all of a sudden depleted their resources, like they didn't know that they were going to run out of fucking trees or something. Okay, it makes much
they
more
were kinda
sense to me.
stuck there.
It makes much more sense to me that they built boats and exited the
left.
populace and left. Okay, you look at the Mayan civilization, you look at the NASDAQ or Nazca lines, you look at evidence.
They've been
there's evidence
building bamboo boats for
but there's
hundreds of thousands of
up
years.
in Peru. I mean, there's evidence. If you look at the monoliths and stuff like that, there's evidence of civilizations that have been here and gone. And I don't believe they were wiped out. I believe they figured out that they could.
I believe you're right on that.
I believe
For
that
sure.
they found out that they could leave.
And they did. But
And there's
what kind of type of means of travel you think that would be? Like
I would
planet
think
hopping or like
I think like boats, and I think a lot of those signs, okay, are evidence of which way they went.
you know I
possibly.
heard some shit like
You know?
it was some crazy ass theory, but it was like you can turn your body inside out and dimensionally travel. It's weird as fuck. I don't know if
I don't know.
but it was just
I don't know. I'm a lot more grounded. I'm an old guy, so like, you know what I mean? I'm a lot more like, I believe there's a physical place that they're
so
keeping
no
us
heaven,
from.
no hell then, right?
Do you believe that those people
I don't
left,
know.
like, did a mass exodus all around the same time, the Mayans,
Yeah.
Easter Island stuff? Do you think they left around the same time, or do you just
I
think that they all
really
figured it
do.
out?
I know. I really do. I think that there's
floods
if you look at the people
made 'em
that
leave.
if you look at the people that are in charge right now,
Yeah.
they appear to be bloodthirsty, ruthless,
For sure.
fucking vicious fucking people.
To back that up, you know what I always said? I always thought to myself, the people that are in charge, like of the world and the planet and all these wars and all this shit going on, I always thought they either know that there's no heaven and no hell because they do some ruthless ass shit and they know there's no consequences for it. So
Yeah.
I agree with that shit. I
Right.
definitely
So,
agree with that shit.
but if there's a lot of evidence that there was from the building construction and stuff that we found everywhere. There's pyramids and shit in China. There's evidence of civilizations, building styles and shit all across the plane that are really, really similar.
The same,
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
There's a lot of there's a lot
Provable.
of evidence. Right.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of evidence that there was a worldwide civilization. Or I mean,
sure.
that they
What was it called? What was it?
Pangea.
Pangea?
okay. I don't know. I haven't gone down.
Well, that's just like that. If all the continents were one and then
Fit
broke
together.
apart.
Yeah.
I don't
broke
know.
apart.
But I
think
mean, that makes sense.
I think if it
You know,
went,
it
I
fits
think
the
if it
structure of
wasn't,
what you're saying.
yeah, I think if it wasn't, okay,
And
let's-
all those people are gone now. Like
Right,
they're
right,
all
right.
just like.
Okay.
But all the
disappeared.
remnants is left over
but
in
yeah.
different parts of the
okay,
world.
Yeah.
but if they had shifted from one continent, because I know what you're talking about now, but if they had shifted from,
But no,
they would have been more destroyed if it was
Pangea-
one landmass.
Pangea.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
agree,
that makes
and
sense.
I said the same thing.
And that
like,
takes a lot of time, according to that. It takes a lot of time for
To-
that
Right.
to happen.
Yeah.
But
So-
what if it was one
part.
cohesive people? Okay,
Yeah.
the way the land is now. Okay.
so you believe in aliens?
what?
Yes or no?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Keep going.
Okay. But they don't come from hundreds of thousands of light years away.
Nah, I don't
They
think
come
so
from
either.
just over there.
They're visiting.
Which is a
They're
lot more,
visiting, Yeah.
and if you listen back to Kennedy's speech, the one that talks about all the, we'd rather have this than that, and that, if you listen to the
Started
entire,
the whole space race share, basically.
right, but if you listen to his speech, he said the enemy used to be far away and distant,
And foreign.
and now
Yeah.
now they're close.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, I mean, everything probably ties together, right? But if you were a peaceful people, right, a worldwide civilization, you might have developed to the point to where you didn't even have a concept of war or enemy or maybe even personal property,
Right.
or
To go along with that,
You know?
I heard that dude said aliens came here to help us advance on a spiritual, more happier level than the war taken level that we like. They came
Right.
here and supposedly the American government denied them and like shit like that, like, or governments denied them, like, now we're doing this. But it makes sense now.
But
too,
if you
with
were-
that. It goes in with that.
if you were all these people across the plane, and you were a peace-loving, maybe you had no fucking weaponry, okay? You definitely...
shouldn't. Just defense, maybe?
Why would you?
If you didn't, yeah.
Let's think about outside the box, okay? All right? Of cooperation.
Got you.
Of you and your homies in its natural state without created agitation.
Got you.
Without materialism, without separation, okay? Who knows? Okay, for humanity, all right? And then you had this fucked off group of people that would vaccinate and fucking and poison your fucking water and your food and enslave you and fucking and give you cancer when you're in old age and fucking hide the cure.
What?
And
check this out. You believe in lands and
I think there's
mainlands
a lot more.
and islands. All right. What if the mainland is Eden and we're everything else? Because if you listen to Genesis, when Cain killed Abel, it was Adam and Eve, and they bared Cain and Abel, and they were the only ones in the garden. What if Eden is the mainland and we're not the mainland, right? What if when Cain killed Abel, this is proven in Genesis, Cain killed Abel, right? God came down, which who comes down from anywhere? Maybe the aliens we were just talking about. They come down, they figure out Cain killed Abel. Right. Well, listen. What God does in Genesis is He casts Cain out of Eden, which could be the mainland, right? So He cast Cain out of the mainland, but Cain he objectifies. He don't want to leave. He says, "I will be killed out there." So basically, in Genesis, He's saying there's other things out there that can kill him. That it's not just Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel. He's already in Genesis. They're already admitting that they're saying something else out there. And not only that, in Genesis, God he says, okay, you're right. And He marks him. So He said, I'll mark you so you won't be killed out there. So God acknowledges that there's people out there.
Right.
2, maybe us on that subland, not the mainland. And Eden is the mainland.
Well, if you think about how many different civilizations,
when you said that, a bunch of information came together, and I thought of that.
That makes total sense, though.
It could be.
I mean,
bro.
well, it's an elite.
Could be.
But if
I don't know about you, but I'm gonna spark another one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. Let's go. Keep going.
But if you think about it, okay, there is mass evidence, okay, and Africa, they've got these rings. There was supposed to be hunter-gatherers there or whatever, right? Yeah. And they've got these rings, and they say that the stones, you had mentioned something about the moon, but they said that these stones ring like a bell when they're hit, okay?
Moon rock?
And they've got tons of, the moon rock, by the way, that they gave to the Dutch government was petrified wood, just so you know.
I've heard that.
There was a lot of fake shit going around there.
There was all kinds of fake shit going on.
But I mean...
Anyway, but it
just
was a
proves
space
that
race.
It's fake. It doesn't.
It doesn't prove anything else.
But yeah, I agree. We're lied to on a daily basis, man.
But
sure.
if there was land really close, okay, if you look at all these different civilizations that are just disappeared, okay, if you had this warring faction of people coming in, okay, these ruthless motherfuckers. I mean, if you think about it, in the United States, we killed over 59 million Indians. That nobody talks about.
Over 100 million. They like to say 50 million was the number. It was over 100 million.
Okay, so I'm wrong. Genocide. I haven't checked it out.
It's not like you're wrong.
But I mean,
that's the number they put.
It's a big ass number,
right?
And at the end of, you know what happened? At the end of World War II, I think there was less than 200,000 or some shit like that.
Okay, bro, what if these destroyed? Okay, and they didn't just do it here. They did it in Australia to the Aborigines.
Me and my sister, so that's in our family.
They did it in Australia to the Aborigines. Okay,
oh, yeah.
They did it in South America. You hear about the Spaniards coming in and wiping out them and everything.
For sure.
Okay,
Puerto Rico, Cuba, all of them was invaded by the Spaniards and with Africans.
These civilizations that disappeared. Okay, especially like Easter Island, like certainly someone would have saw their resources being depleted. Okay,
for sure.
To me, it makes sense that they built boats and got the fuck out of there. Yeah. Okay, and all these places, the Mayans, everywhere that we find these, where did you don't see any bones except for in Paris, which is really weird. If you check into Paris underground, that's really fucking crazy.
Catacombs.
There's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot in the caves over there and shit.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened over there. Yeah. You know, but it appears to me. But the biggest proof for the flat Earth, okay, is that water doesn't bend, okay? And you can't bend it with a math problem, okay? And the guy with the math had an agenda, you know? He had something. You even mentioned that you thought he was working. I've seen pictures of him where he's doing different shit that was Illuminati or whatever, you know? I mean, I don't know for sure. Okay. But I know water doesn't bend. And I know when you, I've got a video where a guy files.
But you know, if you go up high enough, and water does bend. But it doesn't here because of gravity.
Okay.
But if you've seen water in the space station or bubbles floating around, the shit bends, it manipulates. You can do you can poke it, and you can do all kinds of shit with it.
So you believe the
bend.
space station is up there?
I believe this. I looked it up. I think we both looked it up. For them, the amount of satellites that they claim to have in space, for them to have that much, I think they would have to launch like 9 a day since like 1970. Yeah. But at the same time, I was looking into SpaceX and shit like that, and Elon Musk, he takes like 3-4 satellites up at a time when he goes and like deploys that shit.
What does he go? Once a year, twice a year?
No, he set a record last year for going like 22 times in 1 year. He's got them fucking reusable rockets that land on their own and all that
right.
shit.
Never in a million years. But if you check out,
I watched it. I know. We should drive down and watch one of those space launches.
I would
together,
love. I would love to see one in person. But
bring a telescope.
Are we all about it?
Who's
we all about it?
Yeah. Who's the world's largest consumer of helium?
Of helium?
Yeah, for balloons. Who would you guess?
The world's largest.
China.
I would say us because we do a lot of fucking.
How about NASA?
NASA?
Yeah, and you guys should check out the Swedish Space Corporation.
Hey, could you?
Their balloon launch
Google
program,
why
and
NASA
look at the
uses
number.
so much helium, and let's see what their cause.
You're not going to get that there. You're
but
going to have
let's
to
see
look
what it
deeper.
says. Let's just see what it says. If we get anything. If
yeah,
not,
you
that's
might.
cool.
You might.
I'm
You might.
just
No, you
wondering.
might. You might. You might.
This is what this show's about: is
Yeah,
questioning
yeah.
everything,
Check it.
researching everything. So.
But the Swedish Space Corporation does a shitload of balloon launches. And if you look into Echo 1...
That's because they're back in time. They don't have rockets.
No,
they suck at life.
missions, you can see mission logs where they've launched NASA shit.
I'm just joking, bro.
I'm dead serious.
It's saying because using helium is the only fluid which will maintain a vapor phase in the presence of the LH2. Anything else would freeze.
Makes sense. Could you Google why water is always level and see what it says? Please, sir.
Well, they've redefined level now. You know that?
They've redefined everything. These guys manipulate.
Level is perpendicular to the center now, not level.
So you believe everything is beaming off of cell towers?
Yeah, for sure.
But what about these satellite Google images? How do they get these high images?
High altitude balloons. I mean,
high altitude. How many do they got float? 1 million of them? More than 1 million floating around the world?
Look, you can Google map. You can Google map how old is your image that you're looking at.
One of your videos of your boy going up with his balloons would have seen footage of all these other balloons with.
They would have also seen a satellite.
They're not even out of the atmosphere. They're under the ionosphere.
Right.
Ionosphere. They won't see none of that right now.
Right.
But I do agree on one thing.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What are satellites made of?
Because there's no satellites, I agree on this. Every like NASA photo that you see from Earth or whatever,
cartoon.
you don't see no satellite.
No.
If there's so many satellites up there, you would see more. I agree on that.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
But at the same time, those balloons, I can't agree that all those images are. That's a lot of fucking balloons.
Yeah, but think about Google Images. How old are those pictures?
That many balloons up there are highly debunkable.
No, not really.
For sure. Somebody would have proved it. You would see them in a flight.
There's people that have come out and said that what these balloons do is they go up and they stay up, some of them for months. Okay, right? And when they go off or at night, because the air cools or whatever, okay, they actually drop down as much as 10,000 feet. And they've got these planes, these military recovery planes that can go and capture these balloons.
I believe you.
You know, come down in their parachutes.
I'm watching balloon videos.
All right. So ask this question. How often does Google refresh their photos of their satellites imagery?
It'll tell you on the page that you're looking at
how long ago it was taken.
How long ago the image was, because I looked at a house of mine that was a while back.
Makes
sense.
What I mean? And that was on Google.
Yeah, it was on Google Maps.
Fuckers that lie to us about everything. No.
No, but I'm saying if the Antarctic Treaty puts a circle around us at the 70th parallel,
it's typically 1 to 3 years old, like the images you see.
That's not
from Google Earth and things like that.
That's a lot of balloons then. Like we would be able to see those.
Look at.
Listen, I agree. We're fucking being lied to on a mass scale.
I know it's a big leap.
No. Like we're being manipulated. Like my father was in the Vietnam War. Like he's seen some shit. He was on the other side of the world. Like, and just some of those stories. It's just
Okay. The Earth isn't spinning. Okay. There was a guy that shot 3 50-cal rounds up in the air.
Okay.
Okay. They went up. They landed close enough for him to hear.
that was his personal account.
No, it's on my thing. I captured it off of a
But that was
YouTube
his
video.
personal account.
That was his personal account.
Okay.
I originally was using a Mythbusters episode that they didn't count on me using, but they pulled it down. So I guess I'm a threat. I don't know. It was on the premise of 4th of July and New Year's, people firing a gun up and down. Would it hurt you when it came back down?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That was the premise of the show.
a
Nothing
yeah,
about Earth
gotcha.
spin, right? So they shot the gun up in the air and the bullets landed close enough for them to hit, right?
Yeah.
And so when I got onto the flat Earth thing, I was like, I remembered that, right? Something in my head, weird investigative memory or whatever. And so I went and looking for it, and the only thing
It's
I could
on
find
there.
is a clip that I used.
Because they shot cannons up. They did these.
Right,
these
but
things.
Mythbusters has pulled down the original episode, but I found some guy that shot, and they look like, I said don't attempt this shit at home because these guys look like Billy Bob and, knee deep in a six-pack. I mean,
we're just going to try this.
yeah, they looked foreign, but the way that they
He said,
could,
don't try this at home, so don't try this at home.
yeah, they looked not foreign, but they were Hispanic or whatever. But they acted like Billy Bob knee deep in a six-pack. Okay, and the guy sits there and it takes his 50-cal and like boom, boom, and the second shot he blows his fucking hat off from the bullet being ejected.
What the
okay?
fuck?
But what you can hear,
That close, he probably went death.
what you can hear though, and they did it a couple times. I captured the last time. I think I put a link to the original video, but it goes up for 1 minute and 50 seconds. Okay, the Earth is supposed to be moving a 0.5 kilometer per second. Okay, so granted, the bullet didn't go up; it didn't have the velocity.
Based on what point of view, though? From any one given point, or
it doesn't matter. They weren't standing at the North Pole.
I mean, you got to base that fact off. If it's moving, you got to base off where it's moving from, though.
Okay, a 0.5 kilometer per second. Okay,
From one point, right?
you don't have
From
to be
here,
good at
it's
math
moving.
for this. A 0.5 kilometer per second. Okay, it stays up 1 minute and 50 seconds. On what fucking planet would you hear the round go? You wouldn't.
So you believe this guy then?
He wasn't making a point. I captured an observation and realized what I'm looking at. The guy fired straight up. The bullet came right back down next to him. He didn't move anywhere. There's no other explanation.
No video editing or nothing like that?
No, there's no other explanation of it. Okay? I mean, the guy shot it up. I witnessed what I saw. I'm the one.
But you can find videos of people doing the exact opposite, too.
Yeah,
though.
I'd be willing to fucking go and do it because I can shoot. But, I mean, literally, and it was when I couldn't find the Mythbusters or I find the butchered version of it that I felt like I couldn't prove my point because I'd gotten in a heated argument with this guy, or Globe. I don't take offense. I call them Globe cult zealots.
that's fine.
Okay,
That's
because
fine.
people that
I'm not even sure now. So
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
we might be on
Okay.
the island going.
See,
I think we might be on
that's
the
what I'm
Truman
saying.
Show right
No,
now.
no, that's what I'm
not
saying.
even
People,
joking.
people that are open, okay, people that are already open to looking at things, okay. When you hear, you can't argue a math problem against something that's physical. That makes sense, okay, because no matter what they put on paper, if it doesn't tie into tangible
So
reality,
that's your only argument is the water?
it's all I need.
All right. So
I mean, really, and
imagine
we're
this.
not
All right,
moving.
all right,
We're
check
not
this
moving.
out.
And like I said, I didn't know what it was, okay? But it is definitely a level,
Imagine this.
stationary plane. The
All
water.
right, you're right. That's because it's being observed and looked at as on a microscopical level as compared how big the Earth is. Imagine a giant wine glass sitting over the Earth. It's probably gonna curve too because it's that big. We're not on a big enough level to curve like that. It's highly arguable. It's highly
It's
arguable.
really, really, really tough to wrap your head around at
It's
first. And I
highly
didn't
arguable.
expect. Hey, look, I didn't expect to come in here and. But let me throw a couple little tidbit facts
No,
out
like I
at
said,
you.
by far the best guest. Highly enjoyable conversation.
For sure.
We're shown through school, right, that we have a molten core. Okay, right,
sure.
that causes the Earth's magnetism. Okay, take a blowtorch from Walmart and heat up a magnet and tell me what you pick
You know,
up.
when we land on Mars and we start figuring math shit out,
I've
y'all
been
are
told
gonna
this.
have a
I
lot
know.
of shit to explain.
Anyway.
Then, boy,
Anyway.
woo, I can't wait for this. You coming back? I'm just
Okay,
joking.
you heat up a magnet.
Gotcha.
Okay, it loses its magnetism. It's exactly
it's
the
hot.
opposite. What is a molten core?
It's the
All right.
heat.
Anyway, so it's exactly the opposite. What a coinkydink, right?
What do you mean?
What do you suppose the deepest hole we ever dug into the Earth is?
Russia did it, didn't they? Like in the
Yeah, there you go.
80s or something.
Yeah, like 8 mile, 8 point something,
Yeah.
less than
They
10 miles.
supposedly heard the sounds of.
That's bullshit.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
no.
know
But
what.
them drilling that hole is for real. But
Right.
those sounds that came out of the hole
Okay.
is bullshit.
So we haven't gone 10 miles down. Okay. So the rest is bullshit.
I
Okay.
mean, we
It's-
haven't
the
seen
reason
most of
we
our
don't-
ocean either, though.
The reason we don't know it's bullshit is because they took trivium out of the
So
education.
you don't think some rich motherfucker would have
I'm
been
telling
like,
you,
huh,
we're sharp
let me
enough
think
to
about
know.
it. Let me go down there and dig and dig. Let me hire somebody to keep digging and see what
if
happens.
we were
You
taught
can
to
get
recognize
permits.
bullshit,
You know
we
you-
would have seen it.
You know you can get permits to dig
You
that
would have.
deep.
You would have.
You
You
know-
would have for sure.
But you know you can get permits to dig
For
that.
sure. I know this already.
Permits to dig that deep.
Not everybody I talked to, but you two for sure would have seen it. Okay. The only reason that you hadn't seen it before now, or not even saying before now, because the only thing you got to do is open the question. Okay. That's all it took for me was for me to go, well, let me look at the claim. That's why I know it's 24,901. That's why I know what the inches per mile squared. That's why I had to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I had to learn in detail what the hell I was looking at.
For sure.
Okay, or I was open myself up to be misled again.
Yeah.
Okay, because if it's a fucking lie,
Open
you're not gonna
yourself for
fucking
more than just misled. a lot of shit.
Yeah, you're not gonna give me
Ridicule, criticism, like representing something that's not real. But you
Yeah,
do
yeah,
your
but I mean,
research.
long before that,
You do your
I'm
research.
just talking about. Like I used to tell people years ago. I worked on a magazine crew. Bree went out on the magazine crew when she was, young and stuff.
Gotcha.
I was a car handler. Okay, and I'd get young kids, young whatever, 18 to 23 years old, riding in my van.
Yeah.
A lot of them were street kids or whatever, and they'd say like stupid shit in my van. Okay, around my cell phone long before Snowden. Okay, and I'd be like, clearly I'm not involved in this conversation.
Yeah,
Okay.
just mentioning it.
Yeah, just mention it.
Wow.
Clearly
Wow.
I'm not involved in this
Okay.
conversation, and Bree can vouch for that.
That's
okay?
crazy.
All right.
I mean,
Long
it's not
time
crazy, but it's
long time ago. Okay.
Got you.
I would not. I don't have nothing to gain, man.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel me? And this is the.
I mean, you don't
grounding-
seem like you're trying to get anything.
No,
you don't
no.
seem like you have an agenda you're
Not-
pushing. You seem like you're trying to figure things out too.
Right.
basically.
I am.
So-
I am, and I'm trying to be
That's
as
exactly
honest
what
as,
I got from you. Is like
Yeah.
you're just trying to figure it all
Yeah.
out too.
Right.
I didn't feel like any time you were like.
I was
"Man, if
definitely
you
the whole
know-"
time trying to get what, but he don't really have that whole
not
over.
there,
He's
man.
still trying to figure it out too. Yeah,
I
for
knew
sure.
that just.
I know it's not a globe. Okay, it can't be a globe. It can't be what they've told me. Okay, and I don't buy
think
the
there's
ice
a
wall
lot of
dome
evidence
bullshit.
proving it is a
okay,
globe.
because that's their side tactic. Okay, I don't buy the ice wall dome. Okay, because
I don't buy that either.
that's what they've pushed.
But I
And
believe
it-
there's a lot of proof of
but
curvature there for
there's-
sure.
there's
some kind of
absolutely-
curvature. If it ain't a spear or a perfect circle, there's some kind of curvature there.
There's look, man. There's
proof.
There's people that have been looking. Okay, people that have been looking, and the biggest difference in tide, okay, across the plane is 100 fucking feet.
It's more
okay?
than that. I see it. I've seen it.
Okay.
I seen it downtown last time. I seen it when some bad weather. It retrieved way further
I'm
than
talking
that.
about the normal tide.
So what? So
If you
what
took
causes tsunamis then? If we're on a plane, why?
I don't know. Why would I know? I didn't know what the fuck caused tsunamis
But
before.
But you don't.
No, but I mean,
but
earthquake,
I
obviously.
feel you.
But
It makes sense. But you
know?
don't think that there's a lot more why nots if it's flat?
Yeah.
And there's a lot less why nots if it's round?
Yes. Exactly why it was done to us. And exactly the trick that's been fucking played on us. They let us believe that they fucking knew everything and they sold it with fucking detail. Okay, and people's natural thing about the fear of the
So
fucking
then we're
unknown.
super
No, think about this.
ultimate indoctrinated.
Yeah,
then.
and think about this. Think about this. The people's fear of the unknown, okay, combined with the indoctrination, is enough to
So that
enslave
black hole
humanity.
was bullshit, right? That black hole
Fuck
was
yeah,
bullshit.
that was probably really Snoop's blunt.
Right, yeah, that was a good meme.
Good one. That was a great. That was a great. meme.
Shout out to Snoop, you
Snoop.
old fuck. Nah. That was a good one. I seen that like back up, Snoop.
Right.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, but that's probably exactly it.
Classic.
But you know, our fear of the unknown, okay, and our desire to be smart to
It
our
wouldn't have
peers.
been leaked tough as us if it was real. For
I mean,
sure.
it's just the time has come though, okay. And what I would say,
wake up.
what I would say to people, okay, is just be really careful during this transition, okay, because you got to believe, okay, if I'm right at all right, they have a plan B and C and D, okay, and they're not just going to let go of what they've gotten a hold of. You know what I mean? And so
Which is us?
Yeah, which is us, obviously.
Human resource.
Right.
Got
But
you.
they really don't have, I don't believe, okay?
They don't have it like they think they do.
Any power to keep us.
I got you.
You know what I mean? And I think it's really just a matter of us deciding.
You know,
okay?
they
Everything
said,
is by consent, right?
You know, it is, but you know, they said, anatomy. How you say the word? Anatomy,
yeah.
anatomically wise.
Right.
Your anatomy.
Your anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
They said the human body is almost built with a natural defense mechanism to be controlled. Like we're almost uncontrollable.
It's why the Anunnaki thing is so believable.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, because we appear to have been designed that way. The only thing you have to do is take the orbiting 36-mile whatever people with the thirst for fucking gold and replate it with the real criminal cabal. Nibiru cruising around 3,600 years.
The real aliens, the real bad guys.
It really could be.
They could have been. Yeah. But to believe that,
I mean,
they also believed in the solar systems that they had depicted of all the planets. They knew about planets that astronomers didn't find until the 1940s and shit.
How would people?
They had them depicted on tablets. You got
to think about the people
that you're. They had 7 tablets of creation.
Right. You got to think about the people that you're talking about, though. You're talking about Sumerians, okay? Right. And you could come across on a fucking
nose.
Yeah, but you could come across on a hovercraft, or you could come across on what nose? Did they? No.
They had to know.
No, they didn't.
They had to.
Fuck. Not the nose. Oh, man. It's always been this way. No, but you know what I mean? I mean, you could come across on some kind of fucking hovercraft or something, right? They've sold us on this idea. I mean, they put out new fucking movies every year. They've indoctrinated, you know, and
they're easing it into us.
They sold us
these movies.
I think if we knew,
I agree.
You know, if you look back at 1984, George Orwell shit, we're living in that fucking state, okay? If you take the Internet of Things, 5G, okay, look, we're a few years off. 5G's implemented. You got the Internet of Things, okay, and you implement digital blockchain currency and social credit, and you're
we
fucking
don't even
there,
know if that
dude.
5G is going to happen, though.
It is going to happen for sure.
It's being fought.
It's going to show. It doesn't matter, man. They got people debating
they didn't
health
think
risk.
marijuana was going to happen,
Man,
but
they
it's
got
happening.
Okay,
it's
they got
legal in Florida.
Whatever, man.
Medical now.
Trump just said like they're rolling that shit out.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
done, dude. It's done.
They ain't
Okay,
got
it'll be the Internet of Things. Your fucking
You know,
coffee pot will be listening to your conversation, and when it's tied to an AI determining social credit, when it's tied to an AI determining social credit, where when you talk about something, when you have pillow talk, you're shut out of your life.
Because you're talking about AI determining
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
like it. But hear this out. All right.
Anyway,
so what was
this is the control mechanism. We can't do this much longer.
I don't know if it was from. Have you heard of the Philadelphia experiment?
Right.
Yes.
You heard of how they some of them jumped off the boat, and they landed in the water, and when they landed, they appeared in another time zone or back in time.
Yeah, I've heard different stuff.
Some of them ahead of time and came when the ship manifested back. They came back from the future wherever they were at.
Right.
One of these guys claimed when he jumped into the water that he kept falling. It appeared that he was falling, but he wasn't really moving. And then he just kind of landed on ground. And he landed on ground or some shit like that, or he lost consciousness. I don't know. He woke up in a fucking hospital or some shit like that. It's this dude that's supposedly seen the future. You can look this shit up. I'm not saying it's real, but it's just some shit that I heard. It's out there. And kind of ties into what you were saying, because he seen the future, and he said everything was ran on AI. He's like, there was no governments, there was no systems like that. Everything was ran by a computer through each state or each city.
And you would have no appeal against that.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and really, your people need to check into social credit in China. It started in 2013. It'll be fully implemented by 2020. It's scary as fuck.
It is.
In 1 year?
2020
is
yeah 2020 it'll be across the whole fucking country, okay? And they're moving
China?
people, yes, and they're moving people into
they've always been on some crazy
no,
shit, allowing
dude,
one kid per household.
No, dude,
they always
look at
been on some
everybody
inhumane
needs to,
shit.
everybody
though.
needs to fucking look around and look at how many cameras
China's
are around
psychos.
us. Okay, I'll tell you something that everybody can look at. It on your ID, you're going to have a gold star in the right hand corner. Okay, that's a significant
I mean, you already have an ID.
that
That's
means
crazy as fuck already.
No, that means that you've had a facial scan without your knowledge, okay, that you signed for, that you weren't made fully aware of, okay?
Listen,
and the reason for the facial
they sign
print,
every time they do a Snapchat and do that filter in a face like that.
I'm telling you,
facial recognition.
yeah, the joke about when you're saving memes, you're really doing,
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it's
they
not
really
a joke.
are.
I mean, they really are.
You sign and check off on Facebook and every other social media
Right.
that they can get into all your shit. That's
Right.
why when you're Googling furniture and it pops up on Facebook when you go on Facebook.
Right,
like,
but we're right around the corner from the convenience of your fucking coffee pot talking to your refrigerator and shit. And they're not talking about what are we going to have for lunch. They're talking about what you've discussed. Okay, when they're saying that all your appliances are going to be communicating,
somebody maybe, but they're not talking about
they're
it.
They're telling the general public. Okay, when they say all of your appliances will be talking to each other. Nobody ever asked, what's the conversation about?
He's looking for a new fridge. We got to start working better.
No, I mean, nobody ever asked themselves, look, they're telling you, okay? I think they're required to tell us. Okay? I really do.
It's like Toy Story, like we going out of commission. We got to rebel.
Right?
Like
fuck that, I'm shutting off. He's coming home to warm shit.
He's looking for new toys. Like, yo,
but you know what I mean?
That's
but
crazy.
once they've got
crazy.
the...
That's definitely not happening next year.
But anyway, and I feel, if Flat Earth was let out at all, okay, it was done at a time that we have a very limited window to do anything about it.
Hurry up, like,
okay,
it's urgent, right?
Right, it's really urgent because 5G will come in, and there will be a day, and let's say by 2030, let's say no, it doesn't. Okay, but let's say satellites are nonsense. Look. Here's what everybody needs to do. Okay, you did it probably in your early childhood. Look, Santa's not fucking real. Okay, the globe is not real. All right, it's time to put Santa up. Okay, there's no little fucking red guy.
Real? What's real, on your opinion?
What you see,
the island,
and I'll
right?
tell you,
when have you seen that movie, The Island?
I don't think so.
Bro,
I'm
I
sorry
think if
to
you've seen all
disappoint,
these movies, you be putting more shit together. Like, yo, all this makes sense.
No, but I mean,
swear.
And I'll tell you,
Bro.
I was a space buff my whole life. Okay, and I always looked up at the sky with wonder.
And started talking about this shit. It started making sense.
You know,
The Island, the movie.
Okay,
it was like
I'll have to check it out.
Michael Bay. It was a good movie. It was an action movie, but it was like clones. And they were being like cloned and manufactured, and like maybe the island we're being manufactured in, and they're not telling us about that outside island that you're talking about, and then they break out and find out about it.
If the globe is a deception, all indications are that there's a shoreline. That there's a shoreline very close.
Like fucking.
They wouldn't have gone to such lengths if
like
it was
fucking
any
the
kind
Truman
of a
show.
If it was any kind
like
of a real
banging on the shoreline and shit.
Exactly, man.
That's awesome.
That's how you would be.
That's what I'm trying to be. If there's a shoreline, I'm trying to knock the wall down.
Right on. I'm sure I didn't convince anybody.
Who's drinking the Kool-Aid with us?
I'm sure I didn't convince anybody, but hopefully nobody will be. I think that people should just be really careful, and if they decide this is something that you want to look into, anyone holding up a map or a model prior to exploration is trying to get in your wallet. They probably got a super chat. They're trying to sell you merchandise. They're fucking full of shit. They're lying to you. They're not telling you the fucking truth. The honest answer is we don't know what the fuck this place is. We need to find out. And the only way that we find out is get enough excited people about the conversation and let's fucking find out. We got militaries, we got ships. We don't have to be rich. These governments are supposed to fucking work for us.
We need rich investors though, for sure. Back us, bruh.
Yeah.
You know?
What about Alex Jones when he basically said he would invest exploration ship for Eddie Bravo to go to this ice wall and prove all this shit wrong. He said,
Yeah,
"I got $1 million. Let's
Let's
go.
go to
I'll
the
give it
strong
you."
man. Let's go to the strong man and debunk the strong man. What a shot!
They wouldn't let him do it. I mean, they wouldn't
The
let
strong man is is
Listen,
the ice wall
listen.
dome.
Listen,
Let's go debunk the strong man.
Robert. You being who you are, right, and the person you are, and the research you've done. Tomorrow, if you hit the Mega Millions and you had 500 million, you wouldn't go to the ice wall, or you wouldn't try to go figure some shit out.
I've
Right?
already thought about this. I
You
bought
would,
lottery
you
tickets.
would, right? But you would, yes or no? You
Yeah, I would gather as many
so
people.
You don't think
I would
there's
go
not
north.
one other person with money that would have done that already?
I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly. That's
You should look into Fawcett dying. You
What
should
is
look
that?
into
What is
Fawcett
that?
dying
Tell
because
us
he
about
saw
that.
he saw something that was
Tell us
up.
about that. What is that, real quick?
Well, you got Sir Richard Branson, right? And he's Virgin Galactic. He's back
Yeah.
in the space hoax gangbang. And Fawcett wouldn't play, and he's dead man. Crashed on a perfectly sunny day.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wouldn't
Nice.
play.
Interesting.
Been interesting.
How it
Definitely
is.
an
All right,
interesting
I-
conversation.
How it always is.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
For sure.
man.
Not a problem.
been great.
One of the best guests so far. One of the more informal
Yeah.
guests.
Yes.
But shit was cool.
Yeah. Make
so
sure that you check out his channel.
the guest, what is it? Eye Level Awakening on YouTube. His channel. Definitely look it up. You can subscribe, comment, like there. We'll be putting it on Level 1 Woke podcast on YouTube channel, and we'll give him
I'd like to ask both y'all an honest question, and this isn't
Go
for
ahead.
the cameras. It's okay if you just go ahead and tell me to fuck off or whatever. Okay. All right. Have I said enough to interest you enough to at least look at it a little bit further and not just dismiss it out? I mean, obviously you're looking at it further because you had me in. Okay, I'm not insulting you. Okay, in your content. Okay.
For me, it's I'm at the point where I was when I came in, and I'm more toward the globe, but I'm more towards still not believing everything and still looking towards, everything. So,
You think you're still open to look at stuff?
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm
not-
open. I'm open to look into more stuff.
I'm always not gonna ever look into nothing.
What would
I'm
it-
always looking into something.
What would it
so
take
sure.
for you? What would it take for you as evidence to cast aside everything that you believe?
More
like
so
that?
physical evidence in front of me, for sure. Like something like experiments I can do on my own, like going outside and measuring shadows and shit like that, and to know. But like it comes down to it's always hard, It's definitely always hard, but I'm still open to the point where you actually made me question a little more than before, for sure.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things that I didn't know and a few things that I did, and I still was like, oh, I should have looked into that deeper then.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll leave it alone.
No, yeah, I want to definitely look into, because I think you had something there with why all these ancient civilizations had left and things like that. Sorry, and then that's a big thing for me, because I already believed in that. Like, why did all these people just get up and go, and they left all this stuff behind? Where they just died off, or they just left?
Make any
even the
sense.
Mayans, they tried to lie to us about that.
Exactly, it never made sense to me.
Right.
So I think you had something there. It's definitely intriguing, and it's I definitely learned a lot.
I think there's a clue in the fact that they never came back.
Right.
Which leads me to believe, even if most of them had been destroyed, that somebody would have come back.
And that makes me think like who the hell are we?
That's what I'm
Are
trying
we
to
the
say the
fucking
whole time.
stragglers?
Like, what you think?
Yeah.
What are we? If
Are we the
ain't
stragglers?
Matrix, if we ain't,
Are we the stragglers,
Fuck.
or we just didn't go, or
what if?
why are we left here?
What's that slave race from the Anunnaki that they had a rebellion and destroyed, and that's why
Gigi?
a Gigi. Maybe
invite-
that's who we really are.
I invite you and your
We're the
listeners
Gigi.
to look at the foundling trains.
What is that?
These huge numbers of kids being transported all across the plain around the mid 1800s.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, I think I might have heard something about that.
we'll have to have you on again for sure, and we'll
that'd
get
be
into
cool.
some other stuff.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
not
for
just
sure. For sure.
the globe stuff,
Right,
or
right.
anything. We'll talk about some other stuff.
Right on.
So,
Yeah.
Right on.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely not
That
like
sounds good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
sit there and chop it up and bullshit for a
For
while.
Oh, yeah.
It was interesting. So,
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate
you,
the
Robert.
voice. I appreciate it. And you guys treated me with a lot more respect than I usually get. So I really appreciate
no
it.
problem. I was more trying to understand more than anything, trying to get an overall picture of it, and then
I've been
sometimes
told,
there's not an overall picture, but there's something you're still looking for. You know what I'm saying? So
well,
that's
I think that
basically
there,
what
I
got
think
out
that
of it.
there's just we're missing a shoreline, and for me to claim to know what it is like
You can't
know,
without that shoreline.
there's nothing else it can be in my
Yeah,
mind.
for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Robert
Okay.
Matthews,
Yeah.
look him up. Level one.
Thanks again, man.
Eye Level Awakening YouTube channel. You can look up Level 1 Woke at Level 1 Woke YouTube channels, and that's the same on all media platforms: iTunes, Facebook, Google Play, Spotify. You can look us up on Buzzsprout accounts. We got a website on there actually, Buzzsprout. And we're signing
Make sure
out
you
for another
sub.
episode.
Yeah. See y'all.
Peace.